planning on going to Australia because I know Dateline's coming out.
You're ready.
My girlfriend told me, we're pulling money out of the bank, trying to get a few $1 million, and I'm gonna launder it back into a couple of bank accounts that I've got opened under Walter's name, and then I'll be able to go there. So anyway, that whole situation is in the works, and she ends up confiding in a friend of hers who I am. That girl contacts the Secret Service and negotiates a reward to turn me in. But that's not what happened. They watched my house for 3 days, and I pull in one day, and they jump out of their cars, and they scream, get on the ground, and that was it. It was over.
Guns blazing, everything.
Yeah.
And what's happening in your mind at that point? You're like, gigs up, or are you still thinking, maybe I can get out of this? Good morning. I've got Matt Cox, real estate mogul, massive fraudster. I don't know. You be the judge. I'm about to find out. Matt, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
What's going on? Thanks
for coming out here from Florida, dude. So tell me and tell them, who is Matt Cox?
So the short version is that I grew up in Tampa, had a learning disability, never good in school, ended up getting a job ended up graduating barely graduated high school, graduated college with a degree in fine arts, basically was worthless. Ended up working construction and a series of jobs that I kept getting let go from. And I was just doing horrible. And then I was dating a chick who was a stripper, and she was working her way through college. She got her degree in finance,
sure.
By the way. She got her degree in finance. So she had gone to work for a subprime company. This is in about 1999. No. Yeah. This was in 98 or 99. She ends up getting her degree.
That was the birth of the subprime market.
Absolutely.
At that time.
Right. They were just starting to shoot up. And so she had gotten a job there, and she said, you've got to come work here. You got to come work at this. You'd be great at this. And keep in mind, I'm working construction. And so I was like, I don't know anything about finance. And she's like, you really don't have to know much. You just have to. You have to be personable. You have to be a salesman. And she goes, you're a great salesman. And I'm working construction. Like I think I'd had several tickets, so I couldn't even sell cars. Like they wouldn't even let you sell cars because our insurance won't cover you.
You can't even drive a car.
Right. So I end up going to work there. I get my degree. I get my license. I start drumming up business. And I end up getting a couple of customers, and the first loan I get, I end up, and I'll tell this story real quick. This is how bad. I'm going to say this is the subprime market. I go in to my manager's office. She looks at the file, looks through the file, pulls one piece of paper, and she goes, this looks great. Puts one piece of paper to the side. And I go, well, what's that? She said, well, here's the issue. She said, your borrower's verification of rent shows that she was late 30 days in the last 2 years. She's been late on her rent. It's done. It's over. She's not getting a loan. This is a 95% loan.
Oh, gosh.
The chick's barely got 5% down. And the seller's paying all the closing costs. So I was like, this is over.
Negative equity from the jump.
It's over. So I said, well, what do I do? And even though I already knew in my head it's over. And she pulled out a bottle of white out and started shaking it. And she said, if I was you, I'd white out the 30 days, go make a copy in the copy machine, put it back in the file. Underwriting will never catch it.
Oh.
And keep in mind, I'd never broken the law. Other than a few tickets.
You're like early 20s, and this chick in finance, who's your boss,
28, 29 years. I'm like 29 years old. I'm like, well, but keep in mind, I'm 2 months behind I'm 2 or 3 months behind on my truck payment. I'm about to be behind or probably am at this point behind on my mortgage.
Fraud, the highest motivator for corporate fraud is need.
I feel well, yeah.
I've read that.
Yeah, well, it's something called the it's like I think they call it the trifecta, where it's like the need, justification, and ability.
Yeah.
And you're in the position to do it, right? And they said anybody in that situation will commit fraud. So anyway, my manager told me to do it. I said, okay. I remember she said, look, worst that happens, if underwriting thinks you're involved, they'll fire you. Nobody's calling the FBI. You'll be fine. So I go and I do it, and I thought, what does it matter? Like, they're about to take my truck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now she's just made it easier. Socially, it's more acceptable. She's lowered the hurdle. Nothing will happen anyway.
Right. And I had no clue any of this is happening. But I also trusted her. So I I white it out. I go ahead, put it in there. I sweat bullets for about 3 or 4 or 5 days. I get a phone call from underwriting. They said, hey, you're ready to close.
And you get a commission check.
Right. I close 3 or 4 days later. I get a $3,500 commission check. That was a ton of money 20 years ago.
That just changed that's like 10 grand today.
Yeah, that's like 25 years.
That changed the trajectory of your life.
Right. Well, because the next guy that walks in,
Yep.
he made, let's say, $55,000. But if he made 60, he could get the loan. So I pull out the X-Acto knife. I changed his W-2s. I changed his pay stubs.
Oh, so you took it a little further that time.
Oh, yeah. So, it gets worse and worse. And so I did that. That loan closes. Can't believe it. And they called and they verified his job, but they don't verify the W-2s and pay stubs. Right? They just say, does he work there? Yes. They already have the W-2s and pay stubs. We're not going to try and verify what he makes.
They don't need to verify that because it's like a doc.
Right.
Like a,
yeah, we just need to know, is he still working there? How long has he been there? Oh, he has been there for 3 years? Okay, fine. So that closes. Listen, next person comes in, there's another issue. Next person, there's another issue. And so I just start.
You're a top sales guy. You're closing deals that no one can close.
I worked there about 6 months. They made me a manager of a brand and location. And then that company actually lost its credit line. Not because of me, just because they were just, it was just business. They lost the credit line. They were struggling to fund loans for a few months. And the Department of Banking
What a perfect time to do something wrong, because with all the hoopla that was going to happen, all that stuff was swept under the rug because the subprime market had bigger problems. So no one would ever find what you were doing.
Well, this is 2000.
Well, okay, that's early, but still in 6-7 years, it all fell apart and no one would be looking at what you did. They got bigger problems.
And that's really irrelevant because most of these people paid anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like people think, oh, you committed fraud. Yeah, but they paid.
They still paid, so there's no red flag.
Right, there's no red flag. There's nobody ever comes looking, because once you've paid 4 or 5 payments or 6 payments or 2 years worth of payments, nobody ever says, hey, wait a second, let's check those W-2s from 5 years ago.
There's no reason to audit.
First of all, the statute of limitations is probably up. So regardless, I moved there. I ended up opening my own company.
What kind of company?
Mortgage company. Because in Florida, if you had your mortgage license and you paid an extra $250, or maybe it was $350, you just had to send in an extra $350, and now you're a mortgage brokerage business owner, and you can hire brokers.
Why not?
So I opened up my own brokerage business. I hired 12 guys.
When you went in to do that, were you did you ever think like, okay, I don't need to do that anymore? Or were you like, I can keep doing this? Like, did that ever happen in your mind?
No, I'm a fraudster. I mean, I'm
through and through. Once you got bit by that vampire, it's for life.
Right. Literally, keep in mind, we set this place up like it looked like almost like you walked in, you thought you walked into a credit union. Like, it's not like it was a seedy office. This place is nice. And so people would walk in, and every once in a while, a legitimate customer would accidentally stumble in, because by this point it'd been after 6 months or a year, you've got real estate agents that are coming to you saying, listen, my borrower cannot get a loan.
Help.
I need your help. And then this used to irritate me, because we would have some real estate agents come in like twice a month, and they'd say, look, I got a real issue with this guy. And it's like, wait a second. You sent him to your buddy over at...
Why don't you send him to me first?
Why am I'm getting the only aftermath. I'm only getting the guys you can't send to your buddy. Your buddy needs to be cut out completely, or stop sending people to us. And so eventually they start sending people. So like I said, every once in a while they'd send you a good one. And that person would come in, and I'd take an application or pull the credit, talk to them about their job, and then you'd sit there and I'd be like, this guy can get a conventional loan, which we can do. We could do conventional. We were an FHA lender. We did VA and subprime. So I would look at the guy and I'd go, like, you can get a regular loan. And then I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to give you one of the brokers. And I'd give him this person to one of the brokers, because I wasn't even interested in doing a conventional loan. I wanted to do stuff that was, creative financing, right? Like if I didn't need to change your W-2 or fake your bank statement, like, what are we doing here? Give this guy to Susan. How did you get in my office?
Wow.
Because the brokers would get their clients, and they'd come in, they'd walk in, they go, hey man, you got a minute? Yeah, what's up? They'd sit down and go, okay, here's what's going on. He's been on his job. He's got this. So boom, boom, boom. What do I do? Where do I send him? And how do I fix this? And I go, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send him to Mortgage Warehouse. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to fake the bank statements. And then I'd explain what we were going to do to fix whatever dilemma they had, and we'd come up with a reasonable solution.
This became the process.
Oh, that was it. Every day was, and they would joke, the brokers would joke that Matt was in the office doing arts and crafts. Like, oh, he's in the middle of
X-Acto knife in your glue.
He's in the middle of an arts and crafts. So
this is like
project.
Thousands of loans.
Yeah, $40 million worth is what the estimate was.
What?
But who knows? It could have been higher. It could have been lower. I was glad when they said 40. So
When the
FBI said 40, I was like, oh.
So then, okay. So how long did this business run?
So that business ran like that for, let's say a couple of years. And then
what's going on in your lifestyle? Like you're starting to earn money, you're a business owner, like it's coming in. Like
I'm married. I've got 50.
Early 30s.
The most rental units we ever had was like, I think 54 rental units. 54.
So you start taking the money and buying real estate.
Yeah, we're buying real. Of course, yeah, we're going to invest in some real estate.
Okay.
And I married this chick that I dated for a couple months, and she got pregnant.
The stripper?
No, she was gone. She actually ended up marrying the owner of that company, Kelly Aarons. And Kelly Aarons, and they live in South Carolina or North Carolina. They live in, I can't remember the little town, but they live there. She got pregnant. He divorced his wife, married her. I think they have 2 kids, and they're happily married. So,
good for them.
Yeah, her version is, that, it's romantic. It's a romantic story.
Yeah. She's one of the one out of 1,000 that actually went to college and stripped away along the way.
Met a rich guy. Slept with him for 6 months while I was paying all the bills. And eventually he left his wife. She left me, and she married him and had a couple kids. And her version of that story is it's romantic. She fell in love. She married a rich older guy. She fell in love. And my version of that story is you're a whore. So
she leaves a couple parts out.
Yeah, but listen, and what's funny is from both perspectives, we're both right. Right? Like it's not saying it's not romantic from her version. From my version, she didn't leave with a broken heart. So
that was a hell of an alley-oop from you to her.
Yeah. I was going. She left with a new guy and some real estate. So I left with the debt. So what happened is I married started dating a girl. She got pregnant. I married her. We start buying real estate. Everything's going good. And one of my brokers, a woman named Gretchen, had gone and opened her own company. Right. So, and we had it's not like where they take off and take all the files. Like she's like, listen, I want to open my own place. I was like, absolutely.
Cool.
Like we had a good relationship. Like don't, like you can take the files, even the ones you started from here, like don't do anything stupid. And we were friends. We went on vacation together, babysat each other's kids. Like we were good.
Oh, okay.
And so they open up their own company, and they've been for like 6 or 8 months, and they ended up getting a couple of investors who were running a straw man scam. And they got caught by the FBI, and Gretchen had been doing all the loans.
Were they making loans that weren't 2 properties or something like that?
No, they were making they were having some guy come in who's got good credit who would buy a property for $1 million. He'd buy 3 or 4 properties for $1 million, supposed to make a couple payments and let them go into foreclosure. But the houses were really selling for like $400,000. So they're jacking up the appraisal. They'd take that money, and this is how they got caught. Like the guy, he's a straw man. Like he's just a pretend person to do it. He gets a couple $100,000 and then he leaves.
But he's still there. If that boils,
Well, when it collapses, the FBI comes in and says, this guy bought 6 houses. Like, what do you do? Well,
where's he at?
Never made a payment.
I know these stories sound crazy, but could all these testimonials be wrong? No, they're not. Many times we show financials. Many times we talk about addresses. The stories are real, the profit's real, and the people are real. And you know what? The program is real. Look, I do have a coaching program. I've been running it for years now. We train folks every single semester to either start a new business if they're a high W-2 earner, or to create, repair, fix their real estate business. It really works for both of those. So look, I got a few minute video. There's a link down below. If you're even remotely curious, you owe it to yourself to click on it and just see what it's about. If it's for you, great, let's talk. If it's not, go on to the next video. Go check out the link below in the caption.
You're just an idiot.
So, yeah.
First payment default, immediate fraud. So anyway, she gets in trouble. FBI comes in, questions her. She comes to me. She asks me, hey, I need to pay. I need to get a lawyer, whatever. She ends up meeting me for lunch one day. The quick version is she wears a wire on me because I'd been closing a lot of my wife's loans because conflict of interest. I own the mortgage company, so I can't do my wife's loan. So we're having Gretchen's company do the loans. She knew that my wife's W-2s and pay stubs were fake. So she gives that to the FBI. They wear a wire. She comes in. She says, Matt, oh my gosh, the FBI is asking questions about your wife. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't tell them the W-2s and pay stubs were fake, did you?
Oh.
You didn't, like I bury myself. You didn't tell them we were getting cash back, did you? You didn't tell them that. Anyway.
Everything.
It's just, stupid. So I end up, the FBI calls me. I get a lawyer.
How long did that take from that meeting until the FBI calls you?
They called me 20 minutes later.
Oh, wow.
Like as soon as I left, I got there. I knew immediately. As soon as I left, I knew she was wearing a wire. And so they called me. I get a lawyer. I pay him $75,000 to plead me guilty. Do you have any idea how ridiculous? I should have gone with a public defender, but 75 grand.
Never been through this before?
Never been through it. I'll plead guilty. I pled guilty. I got 3 years probation.
That's another part of it. If you were looking at a lot of time, that might be different. But if you plead guilty and have no time, well, that's a different balance.
Yeah, they try and scare you. He was trying to scare me and make me think that you probably could do 3 years. I'm like, 3 years for what? There was no dollar loss. Well, there was potential dollar loss. There was no potential dollar loss. The house is worth $200,000. We got a loan for $180,000. There's no potential for a loss there. It's just that we faked our W-2s.
And it's the fraud, not the damages.
Right, but he scared me. Give me $75,000. They always play. I play golf with the judge. I know the U.S. attorney. Like, come on, man. You know how? Now I realize half the attorneys that are out there say that. I know the judge personally. We're friends. I go to parties with him. None of that ever happens. It's all a lie. So anyway, $75,000. I end up getting 3 years. I lose the mortgage company.
Oh, do they make it
of course.
No more mortgages?
No. Come on, man. You just got arrested for fraud.
Yeah, it's over.
So you're on federal probation for fraud. You're done. So I sold the mortgage company. What about other
fiduciary type things? You can't do mortgages, but is there could you work in banking or any of that at that point?
Well, they didn't. While I was on probation, they basically could tell you to do whatever they want. You can't do this. You can't do that. From now on, you can't drive around in red cars. I don't want you to wear no more shorts, Mr. Cox. No more shorts.
They own you.
Yeah, they own you. I'll violate you. You'll go straight to prison if I see you in shorts one more time. So they basically said no more. Don't do this, don't do that. So I can't own the mortgage company. So I sell the mortgage company to a buddy of mine who's a CPA. He pays me like $8,000 a month to consult, just to keep up all the licensing and FHA stuff. No problem. And then my wife and I were getting a divorce, and I just, what I should have done, I always say this, is because, looking back, I should have claimed bankruptcy. I should have moved into my old bedroom.
Why?
Because first of all, I'm in huge amount of debt. I was running a mortgage company. I'm making $20,000 or $30,000, and now I'm making $8,000. That doesn't barely cover my bills, and I'm divorced. I just got a divorce. My wife,
in half, now you're negative.
My wife takes $100,000. We pay off a bunch of liens. She takes all the properties. I'm lucky that I got out of there with my clothes. So, and what's funny is, and I'm going to say this because it's true. She was, she's Puerto Rican, and they're just built to argue, bro. I just couldn't. I realized after 4 or 5 months, I realized I just can't.
Can't argue as much.
She thrives. She gets more energy when she argues. She gets more energetic, and I get beat down and worn down, and I was just exhausted. I just walked away with nothing but a bunch of debt, and so but I did have about $8,000 coming in, so that barely paid my bills. So what I did was I thought, you know what, I'm already a felon. So what I decided to do was I figured I'm going to start flipping properties, right? I'm going to start buying properties in bad areas. There's an area of Tampa called Ybor City. Buy these properties, and back then you could buy a shithole for $50,000. It needed 30 or 40 or 50 in work, and then you could maybe sell it for 100 to 150. So you're going to make $20,000 or $30,000, right? But this is 20 years ago.
Similar. 10 years ago here in San Antonio, a very similar deal.
Those same houses that were shitholes, as a shithole, they're selling. Today. Yeah, they're selling $200,000 or $300,000, and there's no crap. So, but that was a different time.
This is a big in your life though. You've been through all this, and now you've got the cuffs on, so to speak, and you're still fuck it, I'm gonna go this route.
I'm all.
Real estate, mortgage, you're very sophisticated in the financial world.
Well, and there were all these little things that I had learned over the last few years that I'd never really taken advantage of.
All the inner workings of all this.
Right, and so it was okay, so I'm gonna start buying properties and flipping them. And the problem with Ybor City was that even if I bought these properties for $50,000 and put 30 in them, I could only sell it for maybe 100. And the people that are buying in these areas don't have good credit, and they don't have good job.
So you can't help them get a loan,
right? And now I'm going to have to commit fraud to get them a loan. So I'm already committing fraud again.
But the house part is still like it's still clean. You're buying the house and fixing it up, but the fraud part.
It doesn't matter.
You're still doing fraud.
I'm still committing fraud. It doesn't matter if I'm only committing fraud on this one part of the loan. No, the whole loan's fraud. You're done.
You're done with probation at this point?
No, I'm still. I probably haven't even had a conversation with my new probation officer yet. This is straight out of the courtroom. Wow. Straight out of the courtroom.
Were you like, oh crap, like this could get me again?
I'm extremely arrogant, bro. This version of arrogance is I'm at like a 1 in comparison to how I was in my.
You felt untouchable.
31. I was 33 years old. 33 years old when I got the felony conviction because I remember walking around that whole year saying same age Jesus was when he took a dive. Horrible, right? But I mean, I was totally cocky.
Yeah.
So what I decided was I was going to start buying the houses, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Like, if I have to make the W-2s and pay stubs for this guy, or I have to make canceled checks or whatever. Yeah, keep in mind, by this point, I've got online banks. I've created online banks. They're not a real bank. It's a website that if you go, it's like Ybor City. It's like bankofybor.com. So you could go there and there's a whole website that you think you're on like a bank website.
Is this to verify like financials?
This is to verify down payments, reserves, because reserves are a big deal.
Yeah. Holy.
This is you can verify all kinds of stuff with it. Employment if I wanted anything, because now if they call the phone number for the bank, they get somebody. They say, oh, let me switch you to human resources. Let me get you Sally. Oh, no, I know Mr. So and so. Hold on. I can verify
every problem in the process. Say this is a problem. I'm going to plug a fix in here.
Of course.
Here's a problem. I can create.
Listen, I own a property management company. I own companies that have been seasoned for 7-8 years. They've been around for 7 or 8 years. So I'm buying back companies that have stopped paying they're inactive. They stopped paying their dues, and so they're inactive. And you can catch up the dues, and now you own the company, and you can change the name of the company. And so if you go on sunbiz.com, they think this company's been around for 7 years, but it hasn't. I just bought it a month ago.
And all the bad reviews and bad stuff is gone. You should change your name. Dude,
it's all gone.
This is so much like
and they don't even check any of that, by the way.
And effort.
They don't even check any of that. They check the tax ID number and how long has the company been around. Guy said he worked there 3 years. It's been open for 7 years. Tax ID matches. He's got a W-2. We're good. We're good. I called the phone number. I looked at the business directory. Its phone number matches. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Let's close this thing. So I look at these properties and I think, okay, if I'm going to have to make W-2s and pay stubs and I'm going to have to fix these people anyway, why am I even going to mess with the borrower? Why don't I just create my own borrowers? Like I don't want to get him a house commit a bunch of fraud to get him
take him out of the equation.
I don't want to have to get I don't want to have to completely make a whole fraudulent file for Sheik and split the money with him. And by the way,
you'll make a Sheik.
Right. So what I'm going to do is, why wouldn't I just I'll make a synthetic identity.
You're already making fake banks, fakes everything.
Right.
Now you make a fake person.
Right. So if I buy a house for $50,000, I got to fix it up for $30,000, sell it to him.
Right. Split some.
And what am I going to make? 20?
So what does it take to make a fake person?
It's actually not that hard. So what I did was I called Social Security about 20 or 30 times until I got the exact recipe. And the exact recipe was I can't get a Social Security number issued to you as an adult. It's not possible.
Oh.
It is, but there has to be extensive identity theft, fraud, or some kind of and there has to be paperwork from the police. So what I did instead was I realized if you had a child that was under the age of 12 months old and you could provide the birth certificate and shot record, they would issue a Social Security number to that child.
Oh.
If he's over 12 months old, you have to bring in the kid. Then I don't really have a kid I can go into Social Security with. So I would make a shot record and a birth certificate, and I would go to Social Security and fill out an SS5 form and tell them that I had a son that was 10 months old. They'd look at the docs. They go, well, he doesn't have a Social Security number.
So it's just like you didn't get it when they were born, but now better do it.
He was born at home with a midwife. And so, well, where's the mother? The mother is currently in South America with her family. So I give them the docs. They check the computer. They go, oh, wow, you're right. Little Jimmy doesn't have a Social Security number. Oh, you'll have it in 10 days. And 10 days later, I get a card.
And that costs you, what, $30 or some fee?
It doesn't cost you anything. I don't charge you anything. So I get the card, and then I would go online and I would change the date of birth, and I would go online and I would apply for credit cards in his name with a different date of birth. Obviously, I'd say he was born in like 67.
Oh, but credit card.
He's really born in like, 2001 or whatever is a recent one. So, and I apply and I get denied. But they'd say, hey, you got denied for this Bank of America card, but if you give us $500, we'll give you a secure credit card. And I say, really? Well, so I give $500 and you need 3 trade lines. So I get 3 credit cards from 3 different banks. I make the payments, and then after about 6 months, you get credit scores, and they get about 700 credit scores. You only needed a 620 at that time to get a 95% loan. Huh. If you'd been on your job 2 years and you had 2 years residency and you had a down payment, which these guys all happen to have. So I start making these fake identities, and I named them like I had James Red, Lee Black, Michael White, Brandon Green, David Silver. So I would name them after Reservoir Dogs characters.
How many of these do you think you might have made, if you had to guess?
Maybe 12, 15. Yeah, I ended up
Sounds like a fair amount of work to do that. But if you're busy and interested and active, you crank one out. I was going to say,
I mean, it pays better than getting a job at, what was I going to get a job doing? Like I was going to make, back then I was going to make.
Back to construction,
I was going to do work construction or I was going to go sell used cars and I'm going to make $45,000 a year. So what I did was I made a bunch of these guys and then I went and started buying properties for $50,000. So the other problem with buying those properties for $50,000 is that I can only get them appraised for like 100, maybe 150,000.
Oh yeah.
And since these guys, and I have to put 30 or 40,000 into fixing them up. So what I decided was that Lee Black doesn't really give a shit about the construction. So now what I do is for 5,000, I buy it for 5. For 5,000, I clean up the yard. I buy 3 or 4 houses within half a mile of each other. But instead of when I buy it for 50, by this point I'm dating a girl at the title company, and she explains to me if I paid the extra doc stamps on the sale, it will show up as a $200,000 sale.
Wait, the extra doc? What is that, like a certification or something? Or?
You don't have doc stamps here? Documentary stamps, like 0.007. You pay $700 on every $100,000 of sales price.
Yeah, I don't think we have that.
Okay, so if I bought a house for $50,000,
it's like an insurance policy or
no. This is for the public records. Public records.
Oh, we just pay like $35 to record it or something.
Oh, you don't have doc stamps. It's a Florida thing. Well, it's actually not a Florida. It's a Florida. It's a Georgia. It's a Tennessee. It's a lot of the southern states have it. I guess.
That's how they collect a tax.
There's an extra tax so that we don't have to have a.
Okay, so if you get that, then that only happens on certain price points above, or you can call it a price.
So if I'm buying a property for $50,000, I pay $350 on doc stamps. You fill out a transaction form when you record the deed. And they go, "What'd you buy it for?" And you go, $50,000. They go, "You have $350 plus $10 to record the deed." Okay, you give it to them. But if you said, "Oh, I bought it for $200,000,"
it starts to build a track record of valuations.
Well, it shows up in public records as a sale for $200,000.
And an appraiser's going to look at that. A lender's going to look at that.
Where's the appraiser get his comparable sales?
There you go.
Public records.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd go buy 4 or 5 houses within half a mile of each other for $40,000, $50,000, $55,000, $35,000, and I would just pay the extra $1,000, $1,200
comps.
I created comparable
5 or 6
sales.
of them.
Right. Within half a mile that have all sold within weeks. So now Lee Black, James Red, Brandon Green own 5 houses here. This guy owns 4 houses. This guy owns 3 houses. And they're buying them for $200,000, $220,000, $190,000, whatever the square footage is. I always had the square footage roughly, $150 a square foot, so that it ended up being roughly. Yeah. It made sense. Like when you looked at it, it was like.
It wasn't all over the board.
They weren't all over the board, right. They were like, oh, so they're basically everything in this area is selling for about $150 a square foot.
God, this is so complicated.
It's not complicated. Everybody says that. It's not complicated.
Here's what it is, though.
Real estate.
When I do a real estate deal, like a warehouse, I'm used to the way things are in the standard format. And what a guy like me would have to do in that situation is think about a different spin to every single spot in the process.
Right.
So that's why I say it's a lot of.
But it's no different than you're selling your house for $20,000 and we do a quit claim deed. And I give you $20,000, but I say, hey, on the quit claim deed, let's go ahead and just put $100 so I don't have to pay the doc stamps.
Right.
People do it all the time. I'm just doing the reverse. I'm saying let's write it for $200,000. I'm gonna pay the doc stamps.
So now you're at the point where you ain't bringing in $8,000 a month. Your income's starting to go up.
Well, what's happening is Lee Black would go buy, Lee Black goes buys 5 houses for 50. We got 55, 60,000 in each one. The house is appraised for $200,000. So I get an appraisal for $200,000.
Shit, are you refining?
I refinance it. I refinance it. I get a loan for 180, 190. I only got 60 and I just made 120.
You're pocketing like 100 G's a pop.
I make 6 months worth of payments and I let it go into foreclosure.
And you walk.
So
they're not foreclosing on Matt Cox, they're foreclosing on Lee Black.
Right. Exactly.
The IDs you're using, they have pictures of you?
They have photographs of people I know that have been arrested. Or so let's say
you pulled them off like a website or something?
Yeah, you pull them off Hillsborough County arrest website. So one of them was a guy named Eric Tamargo. He'd been arrested for.
So you called him Eric Silver?
No, he was.
You used his name.
No, I didn't use his name. James Red. His name was James Red. I just put his photograph on the fake ID that I had made. Keep in mind, these fake IDs don't have to pass mustard.
They're probably just photocopying it.
They could be a photocopy. Like, they're actually real IDs, but they're only getting a photocopy, right? And I've actually gone in with these IDs and got a bank account before. Terrified, but I got multiple bank accounts. But eventually what I figured out how to do was I figured out it was easier to just make a fake birth certificate and a fake birth certificate and register to vote for these guys and make a fake.
Because it doesn't require the ID and the pictures and all?
Well, no, it was easier to do that and then go into the DMV and just get the DMV to issue me a real driver's license or a real ID.
So that'd be your picture with a different name.
Right. But at this point, what I was doing is, I was using people because I thought, if I ever do need somebody, I want to be able to go to like a tenant and say, listen, bro, I need you to go and say you're this person, and pay them. I'll pay them, right? And these tenants, in this area, they're broke. They got nothing. And they've all been in and out of jail. This is nothing for them.
They'll do whatever.
But this was Eric. Eric had been arrested for domestic violence or something, a couple of years earlier. And so I had used his name on one of these. And keep in mind, I'm buying these properties and letting them go in foreclosure and pocketing. For each character, we're pocketing between $500,000 to $700,000 or $800,000. And this is how happening within 6 months. And we're doing multiples at the same time.
Dude, you're up and running.
We're doing James Red. We're doing Lee Black. We're doing David Silver. We're doing all of these at the same time. So we're bringing in, I think.
Well, you say we, so you're not doing this by yourself.
No. I had people that would help me. I'd love to mention their name right now, but most of them are still in real estate. So anyway, I remember this one guy.
Tell me this one guy.
I saw him a couple of years ago in the gym, and he came up and just whined about how there was an article that had mentioned that he was involved in this whole thing. I'm thinking,
you're like, dude, I went south.
Yeah, I'm like, I went on the run.
You weren't with me.
I did 13 years. You're on my indictment. You were just as involved as me, and you're whining because there was an article that was mentioned. I've never seen you in almost 20 years, and he comes up to me and he's bitching and moaning to me, and I'm just like, are you serious? I can't believe, you should have gone to prison.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, people are delusional. It's so funny too because he had, as he was talking, you could tell he had convinced himself that he hadn't done anything wrong. And I'm sitting there thinking, if right now I said to him, "Do you remember when you lost your license, your driver's license, and I made a fake birth certificate, and you went into the DMV and got one issued in his own name? We got him a new driver's license so he could drive." So there's no way for him to sit here and say, "I didn't know what was going on." You're selling properties. He was a real estate agent, by the way. He's a real estate agent. He's the one finding the properties.
Wow,
writing up the contracts for James Red.
Dude, he got lucky, man.
You're done.
Yeah,
but he had convinced himself that somehow he didn't know what was going on. It's like, stop.
That was his lie, dude. That was his lie.
People are delusional. They start believing it. They lied to so many people that then they start believing it themselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, my point is that I'm buying these properties. We're refinancing, pulling out the money, making 6 months worth of payments and letting them go.
And they would just go to foreclosure, a bidder would buy it, or the lender take it back, put it on the listing search, and we go right back into the system.
Yes, it would,
and maybe a little loss.
You start noticing that every 3 months they would drop the payment, or the price 20%, 20%.
Oh, to get them to sell finally.
20%, and then they're back down to about $75,000, and some other investor would buy them.
So you had an influx in pricing, and then it started to kind of slump again in that area.
Because we actually not really because we were recording. The FBI said we recorded 109 houses.
Oh my gosh!
They said I profited $11.5 million. I think that's a lie. I don't remember $11.5 million. That's an exaggeration. I feel. I didn't get $11 million. So so that one guy, the guy Eric Tamargo, at one point, I had James Red at one point. Because I would go into the title companies and say, hey, I have a closing today. My borrower is at work. Can I just take the package to him? And they go, sure, Matt. They give it to me. I go sit in the parking lot, sign all the documents, make a copy, bring a copy in, say, hey, here you go. Oh, well, that was quick. I go, yeah, you met me at Starbucks down the street.
Dude, no rules. Like the blinders are off.
And then they notarize it. They give me the checks and I leave. Well, at one point, this woman, Mary, at Island Title or something, Paradise Title, I forget where, she got wise. And she's like, somebody had told her something's wrong. And so she calls up called the broker. The broker called me and said, listen, Mary's not going to close the next loan unless James Red shows up. I said, well,
because you might have done it a few times. She's like, you know what?
I'd already done it a couple times. No, I don't know. It wasn't that. Somebody told her. I'm positive somebody told her. So she knows for sure. She's like, James Red has to show up. Like, she's like, she knows something's wrong. And so,
you're like, how am I going to produce James Red?
So I call Eric Tamargo, and he comes in, and I explain to Eric what I've been doing. And he's like, holy shit. I go, I need you to go and sign. And he's like, whoa, bro. He's like, whoa.
That's what I would say. Whoa.
He goes, wait a second, bro. He said, you said you've already closed some loans. And I said, yeah. He goes, she's got a copy of the driver's license. She's going to know it's not me. I go, well, here's the thing, Eric.
If she looks.
I've been using your photo on the driver's license. That's why we're talking. He fucking loses it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, bro, calm down. Listen. The only reason I used your photo is I knew if it ever came down to this, you were the only person I knew that would have the balls to pull this off. And he went, yeah. And he said, I'm not doing it for nothing. I said, no, of course, bro. I mean, what do you want?
They gonna split him in.
Yeah. I said, I'm going to cut you in. And he's like, just tell me, how much do you want? I remember thinking if he asked for more than like $15,000, like I would just do it myself. I'll just change title companies, do it myself. And he went, I get in a lot of trouble. I said, I know, bro. I understand. He goes, you're making a lot of money on these. I said, a lot of that money goes right back in the properties, by the way. And he's like, I want $500. $500? I'm like, Eric, $500? It's going to take you 30 minutes. Like, what are you talking about?
Done.
No, that's what I said. I said, are you crazy? That's ridiculous. $500.
Actually, now that I'm thinking, I'm getting into your world for the moment. If you only pay him $500 and he gets mad or unhappy or something happens, he got no skin in it. If you give him real money, he's going to be like, oh, I'm in this. Is that what you were thinking?
No, I'm thinking he's a drug addict who cleans lots for a living. Like,
so what was the end up?
First of all, I don't want to give him 10 or 15 or 20 grand because first of all, he'd probably kill himself, and secondly, honestly, I'm just trying to get as low of a price as possible. I'm going to pay him the $500, but I can't make it.
Okay. I didn't know if you I
can't say. Oh yeah, cool, no problem. He would immediately like, whoa, wait. He'd want more money. Yeah. No, you got to argue. Are you serious? What are you talking about? Dude, that's crazy. And then so finally I go, okay, fine, but you got to do it first. Like I'm not giving you. No, I know.
So you play the game.
I play it. Yeah. He goes. We actually get him make a driver's license. He goes in. The funniest thing when we walk in there and we're sitting in the waiting room, Mary comes out and she goes to me. She goes, Mr. Cox, I don't know why you're here. She's, I told you, if James Red doesn't show up, I'm not closing this loan. And Eric on cue stands up and says, I'm James Red. And she looks at him and she goes,
oh,
hold on a second. Goes and gets the file, comes out, opens it up, finds the photo, the old driver's license, right? Looks at it and goes, I'm sorry, Mr. Red. Yeah, come on in. Let me get the
I apologize.
Sits down. He signs the papers. Eric sees $40,000 or $50,000 go to me.
Oh, shit.
A week later, I need him to do it again. I call up and I say, bro, I need you to do it again.
To get wise.
He said, listen, man, you made a lot of money. So a lot of that money goes right back in the property. We got to buy new properties. We got to keep this thing going. We got this. And he goes, you still. I said, how much do you want?
$750.
$1,000. Because I want $1,000. $1,000, Eric. My God, you saw how easy it was. What are you doing? $1,000. Okay. So he, horrible, bro. Horrible. And what's so funny is I know Eric and he's seen these. He's seen me tell this story.
And now he's just like, oh my God.
He didn't think it's funny. Like at first he thought it was funny, but he's heard me say it a couple of times.
Yeah. And
I think one time I might have said, he's not the sharpest guy. And I think he saw that one. So he's like, yo, bro, that's fucked up. Like,
I'm stupid?
Yeah. It's $1,500. I mean, we made like $100,000 on those two transactions, those two transactions.
Okay. So there's a time when the luck has to run out on this, right?
Yeah, what ends up happening is this goes on and on and on. And I could go on about close calls and everything else. But what happens is one day I had done a bunch of loans for a sheriff's deputy and his wife. And so he comes to me one day and he says, hey, bro, I got to talk to you real quick. And I go, what's up? And he said, I used to date this chick on the Tampa Police Department. I was like, okay. He said, she was just on a task force. And I was like, all right. And he said, they're investigating you. And they just handed over the investigation.
When you hear that, I mean, that's not something that happens day to day, and you're running like a serious game. When you hear that, does your stomach sink? Are you like, oh, fuck? Or are you like...
So you know what happened? I was terrified. Listen, I remember this. I remember it was like a flame, like heat shot up from my stomach into my chest. And I mean, I immediately felt like my head was on fire. Like I'm starting to like beads of
you're
sweat.
Like, oh shit.
But if you talk to the guy's name was Steve Sutton. So if you talk to Steve Sutton, the sheriff's deputy, he would tell you
you're cool as a cucumber.
Because every time the FBI and Secret Service, when I talked to them, and they had talked to people that had come into contact with me when things had gone wrong, every one of them said the same thing. Like he wasn't nervous. He never acted nervous. He didn't leave. He didn't say like, "Hey, I'm going to go to my car." He didn't.
You've got
get
a great
scared.
poker face. Then
he sat there like he argued. He said he wanted to talk to the manager. Like he I'm not going anywhere.
You know, they say never drop the con. I saw that in the movie.
First of all, I could tell you multiple stories where people are like, "Well, why didn't you leave?" Because the guy's got a $29,000 check and my license. I'm going to run in my car and leave? For sure he's calling the cop. I have to play it out.
Right.
I want to talk to the manager. What's going on? What the hell's happening here? Where's my money? You know. I'm like, oh my God.
You should have went to Hollywood, dude. You'd be a great actor.
So what happens is the guy tells me that the task force was just handed over to the FBI. I'm on federal probation, by the way. Oh shit! And I remember thinking, it's not going to be good. Like my judge is not going to think this is cool. Like it's not good. And and so he tells me this, and I said, okay. And he said, I'm telling. She had told him because she said once the FBI gets this guy, he's going to cooperate because all white collar people cooperate. She goes, so
that's interesting.
She told him, stop talking to him. Don't talk to him on the phone anymore. He's going to cooperate. He's going to get you too. And that was it. And he was, so I'm telling you because she told he is, and he was like, he's like, well, what should I do? And I went, nothing. I said, you didn't do anything wrong. You just signed some papers. Like you tell them that you came to me to do the loan. I did the loan. You closed on it. It was what's wrong with the loan? You saying something's wrong with the loan? You have a job. And his loans were all fucked up. Like he's getting cash back. He's buying houses he's buying the house for $80. We're getting it appraised for $220. We're getting him $80,000 back to do rehab. He's bringing.
Even if you didn't know, you can't miss that.
Yeah, but I'm saying it. But as a regular person, you don't necessarily know that's not right. I told him it was construction to perm loan. Like he doesn't know what that means. He doesn't know. See what I'm saying? Like he's a cop. He's like, I don't know. I went to the closing and they gave me a check. I borrowed money to fix up the house.
Okay, I could see
as
that
a regular
part.
guy, you don't really know. So that's why I told him to just stick with that story. By the way, he never got charged. So, anyway, I'd love to talk to Steve. I always liked Steve.
He was a good guy.
He was a good guy. We used to go to Hooters together every once in a while. We went like 2 or 3 times. He used to wear overalls and a wife beater.
How'd you meet him? She was a sheriff department?
Straight Florida, bro. This is a straight Florida deputy.
So how'd you meet him before he came into this operation?
Oh, this was Lynn Cadella, a real estate agent, had brought him to me. She had like 6 duplexes that she needed financing on. So we got his wife 6 owner-occupied loans on 6 duplexes, closed them at 6 different title companies.
Oh my gosh.
And she closed on all of them. She didn't even sign them. We signed them.
In the car.
We signed them for her.
So he was a business referral, and
and then I did a bunch of loans for him when he started rehabbing. He had divorced her. But we did a couple $1 million in loans for these 2. And they knew that, both of them knew they were all fraud. It's all fraud.
Okay, so walk me through this. He tells you, Matt, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I say, bro.
You got this red flaming thing up your stomach, but like, you seem cool.
Well, he says to me, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm leaving. He goes, you're leaving? I said, I can't. Look at me. I can't go to prison. I'm fucking adorable. I mean,
someone's going to love you in there.
I'm as soft as cotton. Like I saw Shawshank Redemption. That guy was 6'2".
Yeah.
I can't go. So anyway, he leaves and I take off on the run. I actually brought a chick with me for a short period of time.
Oh my God, this is like a movie. I went on the run. I grabbed the closest girl to me.
No.
She said, I want to come with you. I love you.
I love you. It was exactly like that. But you said, we're doing a quick one. So what happens is this. I take off on the run. I have no money. It's not like you can walk into the bank and say, hey, I got $2 million in here. I'm going to need that in 20s. So it took me.
It's going to get.
I got like 80 grand. I get out 80 grand in cash.
That's a lot. Nowadays, you can get that in a day or two.
No, we went to multiple banks. I actually started giving people, because we had multiple bank accounts. I'm like, hey, go cash this check. It's $7,000. Go cash this check. So I got 80 grand in like a day. And then I think this happened on a Thursday. So Friday I get that money. You're not getting money on the weekend.
Right.
You could only use your ATM once or twice.
I'm surprised the FBI hadn't already started looking at accounts and stuff.
Because
maybe
they just handed it over. It's going to take them a week or two.
If they're government, they probably move really slow.
Yeah, very slow. And so by Sunday night, I leave.
So you've written off the rest of that money in those accounts. You're like, I'm not getting it.
No, it's done. Like that's done.
Dang, so you went through all that and still don't even get access to most of the money at this point.
That's fine. I got a car and I got a chick. So I go straight to Atlanta. I rent a property from a guy named Michael Shanahan. I make a fake ID as Michael Shanahan. It's a house that's worth about.
How'd you pick Atlanta? You just like drive until you hit the next town, or?
I was born in the South. I like the South. So I went to Atlanta. It seemed like a moderately decent sized city compared, and a little bit bigger than Tampa. I wouldn't know what to do in New York. I've only been to New York a couple of times. It's insanely huge. It's nothing but concrete, and it's amazing, but it's like
Georgia's pretty.
Yeah, it's too much. So I go to Georgia, and I rent a property from this guy. It's about $200,000. It's what would probably be comparable to like a probably a $500,000 or $600,000 house now.
You're going to a nice neighborhood.
Nice neighborhood, brand new. I think it was maybe 10 years old.
At this point, are you thinking like, okay, here's my life plan? Are you thinking like that broadly? Or are you thinking, shit, this is week by week right now?
I'm thinking get $4 or $5 million and just buy a bunch of real estate and then just hang out. This will die down.
And change, it must be part of the change your identity plan.
Oh, of course. Well, at this point, so I go to Atlanta.
And this was like, what year? You said about 20 years ago?
This would be
before the mortgage crisis.
This is 2003. No, but this is 2004 by the time I'm in Atlanta by 2004. 2004, I rent the property. I go downtown. I pull public records on this house, find out he's got like 3 mortgages with Bank of America. He's got like a first, a second, and a HELOC. And I was like, my God, this guy's leveraged. This guy's really in debt. And so I create 3 different satisfaction of mortgages. I file the satisfaction of mortgages, and I wipe out all those mortgages. Now, everybody always asks this. Bank of America,
he's still paying, but in the land records are clean.
They're clean, and Bank
of America sell this fucking house.
No, of course not. I didn't do that. I borrowed 3 mortgages on it. I went to 3 hard money lenders. So I called 3 hard money lenders. I applied for a loan. They all came out, looked at the house. They all agreed to lend me $150,000. I closed. Now, they don't know about each other, of course. So I closed within a day of each other.
So they're all first positions.
Right. $450,000. Well, after closing, maybe
400.
They're really, they really take a chunk. So I ended up with about $400,000 and I dumped that money into a bunch of different bank accounts. I have some problems getting the money out of the bank. Because I started.
Yeah, because that happened in the past. It got stuck. So at this point, you're like, let me remain more liquid, like cash.
Yeah. I started. I dropped them in many, many bank accounts. By this point, I think I'm surveying homeless people. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
You're fucking creative, man.
So, I can't do the fake. I can't keep opening fake ID. I can't drive on these fucking IDs, right? I need a real ID.
Oh, because if they run it, it'll come back.
They're looking for Matt Cox. Oh, by this point, listen. Within a month, there's 12 articles on me in Tampa.
Oh, man.
I'm in the newspaper. It's bad. So,
were you getting calls from like friends and family? Like, Matt,
I took the phone. I threw that phone out when I left Tampa. We're done with those guys.
Oh, you're driving. There's a line.
I'm done. That's how you get caught. You keep calling your friends and family. You stay in touch with people. No, we're done. We're done.
So now you've made a commitment. Like, this is my life.
This is it.
And I'm going to sever ties with history.
Yeah,
these are massive commitments.
Listen, I'm definitely on the sociopathic scale.
And at this point, in life, are you thinking like, I'm not that bad of a guy, I just need to make it through this, or do you feel day to day like, man, this is a fucking wreck, and I got to make it through?
Exactly. I don't consider myself a particularly good guy. At this point, that'd be a pretty hard pill to swallow. What I'm thinking is I need to get a bunch of money and reinvent myself somewhere else and just start over. So I get that little chunk of money. I pull that money out of the bank, and then I go to Charlotte, relocate to Charlotte. I go to Charlotte. I buy a couple of houses in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. I satisfy the loans on those houses. I refinance those houses multiple times. I borrow like $1.3 million. I pull out like $700,000.
So you're starting to build your reserves up again.
Yeah, I pull out about $700,000. Well, we also did some houses in some other places, but anyway, these are the main ones. Those were small, a couple $100,000. So, and keep in mind too, it's like I'm also getting credit cards. I'm also getting personal loans.
I see a free money to spend like day to day.
Yeah, and we're traveling. We're going all over. We're going to Bermuda. We're going to Jamaica. We're going to Mexico. Like we're going all over the place. I've been to Italy. I've been to Croatia. I've been to Greece.
So you gotta have a clean identification to be able to travel.
I also got passports, because once you get a driver's license, you can get a passport. So I've got like 12 I actually got caught with 20, like almost 20. There's like 22 passports. If I just had 2 more, I'd be able to say 2 dozen. It's not really 2 dozen. It's like 22, but sometimes I say 2 dozen. Roughly 2 dozen passports. It's not that hard. So, and what's so funny is people are like, "Oh yeah, they take fingerprints. They don't do that anymore." I just got a passport, bro. Nobody's pulling fingerprints.
You've been through all this today when you're doing things the right way. You still see all these holes everywhere.
Oh, this is still following, bro. When I went to Amsterdam a couple of years ago. They pulled me out of line and fucking questioned me. They're like, "There's a red notice," and I'm like, "There's no red notice. What are you talking about?" Well, it's expired.
They're still going to question
you. And I was like, "It's expired," and they go, "Still."
You're like, "Guys."
Yeah, it was, and I'm kind of joking about it, but after about 20 minutes, I'm like, "Hey man, I got a fucking flight.
I don't want to miss my flight." And they're like, "Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude, let me get out of here."
So, anyway, what ends up happening is I get the money. I end up buying these houses in Columbia, South Carolina. I get about $1.3 million in the bank. I pull out about $700,000. I actually get Wachovia Bank figures out something's wrong. They call the police. The police arrest me. They bring me downtown.
Oh shit!
It's okay. I figure
out
from
your big account balance or from the mortgage stuff.
No, the mortgage stuff. They realized that I've got 3. I actually had 5 mortgages on this house, but they found 3. I convinced them. I convinced the detective that the bank has a problem. They maybe have some fraudulent thing going on with their loan officers, but I don't know anything about it, and they let me go.
This is remarkable.
I leave South Carolina. I leave $600,000 in the bank.
Dude, you keep leaving cash behind. Like, you got to fix that.
No, it's like you can't go back. And I actually did go to like 2 more banks. But like the third bank, one of the chicks, when I walked in the bank, saw me and went to grab the phone. I stopped and I was like, "No." I turned around and got in the car. And I know she was calling the cops, because when I got in my car and I was leaving, she ran outside to get my tag number.
So, dude, things are closing in.
Right. And I just left the police department. So I just left the police, talked my way out of the police department, and went to one bank, got money, another bank, got money, another bank, and she goes to call. So I was like, "Oh, no. Like, I can't have a conversation with that detective again. He may have figured it out." So I relocate my girlfriend in Houston, Texas. We get into a huge argument, and I leave her there. I drive back to get my. I actually left her with like $500,000 in cash.
You know what? She got a fair deal on that.
She did. She only did like 3 years. So I gave her like it was like $600,000. I drive all the way back to Charlotte.
Was that like kind of hush money in a way?
No, because she's done. She was wanted.
Oh.
Yeah, she's wanted too. Like she's gone into bank. Remember I told you we'd done some other properties? She walked into those properties. She did those closings.
Oh, so she's
deep. She's in it. So I end up going back to Charlotte. I get my car. I drove back. I had to drive a U-Haul all the way back. That's why I went back to Charlotte. It's not like I need that. But
also, those would be clean plates. Like they wouldn't come back to your name, a U-Haul.
Well, yeah, that's not it. The point is I don't have a vehicle, and I've got almost no money. I got like $100,000. Shit. So, because I gave her a bunch of money, so I'm like, "Yeah, we're done. Take this. We're done." So I leave. It was really she wanted all the money, but we argued. So I got a little bit. So and her whole thing was, and I was like, "I'll take all of it," and she's like, "I'll call the police." And I was like, "Ah, man,
don't do that."
So it's funny when you tell that story in prison. Every single guy's like, "Why didn't you just kill her?" And I'm like, I got to get out of here. Like, killing her didn't even, I didn't even think about killing her.
But I'm not doing that.
I'm not killing her. So I'll just steal more money.
Why do you
I'm not bouncing back from a murder. So,
wow.
So anyway, I drive back to Charlotte. I get my car. I'm going to tell you this real quick and I'll wrap this up. I go into a Starbucks right across the street, catty corner from where my apartment complex is. And the chick, there's two employees, leasing agents for the apartment complex. And they're looking at me while I make my order and I turn around, they're staring at me and they're talking. Okay. I get my order, I wait. They have this conversation and then suddenly the woman walks out the back. Guy's just standing there. His order comes up, he gets his order. He's standing there with his order staring at me. I get my order, I go sit in my car. He comes out and he stands there. He's staring at me.
Uh-oh.
And he's looking at me. And he's looking up the street and up the street. Listen, I'm so not, because you know what I thought it was? It's like the 6th or 7th. My rent was due on the 3rd, by the 3rd, and I hadn't paid it. So I'm thinking this has something to do with like an eviction. Maybe they're going to try and serve me.
Oh my gosh.
But what really happened was after I left South Carolina, they put it together who I was. And by this point, by the way, I'm number 1 on the Secret Service's most wanted list. That's been over 2 years. So the FBI is looking for me, Secret Service is looking for me, U.S. Marshals looking for me, and probably some other agencies. And so I've been in the Atlanta papers. I've been in all the papers. Every time I hit someplace.
Everybody knows what your face looks like at this point.
No, because the internet's not really there yet. And by the way, I'd had plastic surgery. Like I had a nose job. I've had a mini facelift. I had my teeth done. I had two hair transplants. This isn't my hair. And
well, looks great.
They pulled it from the back. I feel like it's thin. I need another one. Depends on the lights. I was actually going to talk to you about that. I make sure if the light's behind me, it's bad. So, but anyway, I'm thinking about getting another one. So I've had some work done and I'm not that worried about it. So I remember getting in the car, putting my seatbelt on, and I remember, do you remember the CDs? Mm-hmm. CDs, DVDs? Yeah, CDs. And you remember
they're all in that case.
The case.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm swapping them out and I'm sticking it in. Oh, it was in the back. I slide it in the back and I'm sitting there and this is like an Infiniti G35. They just come out. It's got like it's got like 360 horsepower. Like it's a fucking great car. And I'm sitting there and I'm checking the thing and I'm thinking, what is wrong with this guy? And all of a sudden he screams, he's right here. He's right here. And I look in the rearview mirror and there's two guys.
It's the eviction guys.
No, it's the 2 U.S. Marshals. Running towards the back of my car.
Dude, they made it quick.
And it was across the street. They should have got me waiting for my coffee. It took them like 15 minutes.
But the people that just happened to be in there from the bank, how'd they piece this together so quick? I missed that part.
The 2 leasing agents had just been interviewed by them. They were still next door.
Oh my gosh.
So they'd been interviewed and they got interviewed, went across the street.
That.
Yeah, sorry, I left that out. Went across the street to get coffee. And while they're getting coffee, they're like, holy shit, this is the guy
dude.
That's him. So she runs to go get him.
Oh my God. They're like, haven't even left yet, hardly.
So I punch it and I take off.
Oh shit. Now you're not just on the run. You're literally evading.
Oh, I've been evading. So I take off. I drive down the street about a mile and I stop at a homeless shelter and I survey 3 guys. One of those guys' name was Joseph Carter. I go to Nashville, Tennessee. I set up as Joseph Carter. I buy 10 or 20 houses. I refinance those houses. I pull out $3 or $4 million over the next year or so, just to kind of live. And then I get a girlfriend. And
there's always a new girlfriend, like in every location.
Yeah, right. You can't keep that going. So I get a new girlfriend.
But they didn't. You got away, stopped the homeless shelter, and the trail must have gotten cold from there to like the next place.
Well, I completely swapped out everything.
They're really struggling.
Like I dumped everything. I was dumping everything. Keep in mind that car, I got all the way back there. I get a new vehicle in the new name. I get a new driver's license, new vehicle, new name. Drive that car, wanted. They want the car. And I drive it all the way back and I leave it in long-term parking in Charlotte's airport. Yeah.
Just bounce.
Yeah. The other car that I had gone with, I left it in a police station parking lot.
Are you almost like taunting them in a way?
They said that, but I don't feel I was. I wanted to make sure the car didn't get broke into.
I see that look.
So, listen, at one point I called the FBI agent to see if I could turn myself in. But she was real arrogant. She was just real nasty. And I was like, and she lied to me about some stuff. I could tell she was lying about some stuff. I was like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, guys, this is a no good. And so anyway, I'm in Nashville. I buy a bunch of houses. I do the same thing, jack up the prices, pay the doc stamps, refinance it, pull out a bunch of money. I've got some homeless identities names. I find out Dateline is about to come out with a special on me. By this point, I've been on the run 3 years.
No. And you've done this in 3 locations?
Yeah, no, I've been indicted.
Florida,
I've been indicted
Atlanta,
in
Nashville.
four different areas. I've been indicted. I had 3 indictments in 3 different districts. I'm sorry. I never got indicted in Charlotte because I never did anything in Charlotte. So yeah, but I had lived in those areas. But the point is I could have been indicted. I had stolen identities there. I had bought cars there. I'd done all kinds of stuff, but I just didn't. They already had me. So anyway, I was in Nashville pulling out money. I was going to leave and go to Australia because Australia at the time had a policy where you could go to Australia, you could become a permanent resident alien as long as you showed up there with like $200,000 and a business plan. Like you can't take a job, but you could hire people. You could open a business and hire Aussies.
They have an immigration thing like that for the United States, I think. Like they let certain people in if.
Yeah, but I don't want to be in the United States. So I'm going to Australia, and they didn't fingerprint you. And keep in mind, I'm going there as a guy who's got a clean record. It was Walter Holcomb. I had a driver's license. I had a passport. He's got a clean record. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to become a permanent resident alien, and I'm allowed to buy real estate. So I really could go there and just buy.
You're right. Game on.
I could buy 10 pieces of property and just rent those out and just live off that.
So you went from different cities to different states to now I'm going to a different continent.
I have to. Dateline's coming out. So
okay, let me back up to this. I keep asking the same thing. At this point now, are you like, I think I can outrun this? Like, do you think you can outrun this?
I do think I can outrun it only because I'd been caught so many times and talked my way out of it.
I've got to say this. I like you. Like, you're a cool dude. I'm enjoying this. At this point, it sounds fucking delusional.
It is delusional. And really, it's more delusional now than it was then because the internet was in its infancy. This is 2006.
Yeah, so, the data isn't so quick to spread.
Right.
We don't have as much cameras and facial recognition and
Keep
AI
in mind,
and sharing.
I had the newest cell phone. It was the Razor. You understand? The Razor. Texting had just come out. Facebook.
Wow.
Facebook was just coming out. YouTube had been out 1 year, and people were uploading their home movies to YouTube.
Gosh, a lot has changed.
Like, look at little Jimmy here. Click this link.
Yeah.
Like it's this. Like people now, they're like, oh, well, your face must have been everywhere. No. It's nowhere.
I'm glad you're reframing that because I wasn't quite thinking like that.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm thinking I can go to Australia, start my life over, get a couple more surgeries.
And this time lay low.
Lay low. Just listen, if I go there with a few $1 million and buy some real estate and just rent it out, I could go buy 10 wave runners and rent out wave runners on the beach and rent out my apartments and kick back. I'm good. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not thinking, hey, in 10 years from now.
You picked Australia, though. Like, that's a pretty nice place. A lot like the United States, same language and all, but it's far enough away and different enough where you think there's a separation. It's not like you picked Croatia. We're going to go hide in a village.
No, I'd been to Croatia already. I was not. I didn't feel
no
like
good.
No, I don't want to live in Croatia. I mean, it was cool. I don't want to live in Croatia. It's like people are like, why don't you go to Mexico? Like
Australia's just like the United States in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like people are like, why didn't you go to Mexico? I don't want to live in Mexico. Like my fear is Mexico, there's corruption and like the cops, you think, oh, well, you could pay for protection. No, the cops will take the money from you.
That's way different.
You see what I mean? Like I had not heard good things. I'm planning on going to Australia because I know Dateline's coming out.
You're ready.
My girlfriend told me, this new girl I'm dating, she's like, oh my gosh, and she knows who I am.
Where'd you meet this girl? I got to know.
Oh, Match.com.
Okay.
We know Australia, we know Dateline's coming out. We're pulling money out of the bank. Trying to get a few $1 million, and I'm going to launder it back into a couple of bank accounts that I've got opened under Walter's name, and then I'll be able to go there. And so anyway, that whole situation is in the works, and she ends up confiding in a friend of hers who I am.
Oh,
no. That girl contacts the Secret Service and negotiates a reward to turn me in.
Bounty on your head. When I hear that immediately, if I were in her shoes, I'd be like, I don't want to know about that. Keep me out of that shit. I got no part in that. Instead, she's like, no, let's see if we make some money.
Well, she's really not that sharp. She could have come to me and said, listen, give me half.
She got more money out of you, maybe.
Give me half. She got $10,000. She could have come to me and said,
hell, you paid your ex-girlfriend $500,000.
She could have come to me and said, give me $500,000. I'd have been like, you take everything I got. Give me a 10-minute head start. But just let me but that's not what happened. They watched my house for 3 days, and I pull in one day, and they jump out of their cars and they scream, get on the ground, and that was it. It was over.
Guns blazing, everything.
Yeah.
Wow. What's happening in your mind at that point? You're like, gigs up, or are you still thinking, maybe I can get out of this?
No, I'm not thinking I can get. I mean, it's
I don't
funny.
know.
No, it's funny because
you've made it, dude. You got a run going.
keep in mind, remember the chick I told you I left with? Her name was Rebecca. Listen, I'll be honest. Rebecca was like a gangster. She was bipolar and she was a lunatic. That's why I left her, because she kept getting the cops called up. Like, we're on the run.
You can take on this kind of run
But we're on the run. You can't be screaming at 2 a.m. in a nice apartment.
You gotta hold your shit together,
right? Like, you can't be screaming. The cops are going to show up, and they did show up multiple times. Now, I would always be gone because as soon as she starts screaming, I grab a bag and leave. And then they'd come, and then she'd call me. The cops were here, and I'm sorry, and I love you. Please come back. I don't know. I'm going to take my medication. I'm like, oh,
you got an iron stomach to be able to like.
I was terrified, bro. Terrified. So anyway, I get grabbed, and Amanda knew who I was, and she had confided in her friend. And yeah, like I said, if Trina had shown up and just said, "Give me $500,000," I'd have given her $500,000, and I had it in cash anyway. So. Anyway, they pull up, and when they pull up, they pull their guns. And what I'm thinking is, to be honest, and this is funny because I've said this many times, everybody's like, what were you thinking when they pulled up and grabbed you? Oh no, I know what I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you about Becky. Rebecca, she had already been caught like a year earlier. She only made it like 6 months without me.
So did she give a little bit of information?
She gave everything she could give, but she didn't know where I'm at.
Yeah.
So when they grabbed
her,
but
they kind of already know your plan because they've caught on to you. They just don't know where you are.
They don't know where, and she doesn't know where I am.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what my plan is. My plan, and when she knew, was get $3 or $4 million and just kind of blend into society, get a good clean ID and blend in.
Yeah, but your new plan is I'm going to
she doesn't know that. So, but when they caught her a year earlier, they told me that they grabbed her. Keep in mind, I'd faked my way out before. Remember, I'd been like, what are you talking about? You know, the bank, I'd gotten out of handcuffs before. I'd been handcuffs, been brought to the police station, convinced them that I had done nothing wrong. They let me go. So she when they grabbed her, she's telling the cops.
Y'all had him.
No. They grab her. They're telling her, we know you're Rebecca Houck. She was living as Rebecca Hickey. She had a real driver's license, passport, everything. And she's like, my name is Hickey, not Houck. You guys fucked up. You're going to lose your job. I'm suing all of you. The Secret Service told me, he said, for 45 minutes, she's screaming at us, telling us, that's it. I'm suing you. You guys are messed up. This is illegal. She said she denied it. And they're laughing about it. They're like, bro, this chick is insane. She denied it the whole time until they took her hand and slapped it down on the glass to do her scan. And she goes, okay, my name's Rebecca Houck. What do you want to know? And they go, bam. Where's Matt Cox? And she's like, I don't know where he is. If I know where he was, I would have been caught. She's like, I don't know where he is. He left me.
Wow.
So when they grabbed me, here's what I was thinking. So I wasn't thinking I'm going to get away. I wasn't thinking, oh, double down. You know, don't admit to it. Because they're
yeah.
I know it's done. When they're approaching me, so the whole week, the girl I was with was like, hey, on Tuesday, can we do this? I'm like, yeah, we can do this on Tuesday. I'm like, listen, but on Friday, we're going to see 007 because the new James Bond with Michael Craig. Is it Michael Craig? Craig?
Yeah, whatever. Michael Craig, there's Pierce Brosnan.
No, it was Michael Craig. That was the first one. It was Casino Royale.
Daniel Craig.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig was coming out. He was a new James Bond. I thought he'd make a great James Bond. I'd heard it was going to be a lot like the Bourne Identity. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's totally cool.
So that was your Friday.
That's Friday. So then a couple days later, she's like, hey, listen, on Sunday, do you want to meet Trina? We can all go to them. I'm like, yeah. But on Friday, she's like, I know, 007. I know. Okay. And then hey, there's this thing on Sunday. There's a fair. Do you want to go? We can bring her son's name, her son. This and I'm like, okay, but listen, on Friday, she's like, I know, Friday, Casino Royale. We're good. You're going to get to see 007. Calm down. I know that. I'm like, okay. So when they pull the guns and they scream, get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground. My first thought was, fuck, man, I'm not going to be able to see Casino Royale. I'm not going to see Casino Royale. There's no fucking way. This is it. I'm done. I did see Casino Royale, by the way.
Different time, different place.
About 4 years later on the on the Institution movie channel. Not nearly the experience I wanted to have seeing Michael Craig.
No popcorn, no soda.
No, there was popcorn and soda, but it still sucked. I'm sitting with 20 guys watching a little tiny TV. It sucked.
All right, hold on. So they pick you up. Are the guys talking to you on the way to the station?
Yeah.
What are they saying?
I mean,
they're like, Matt, you're fucking done. Are they being cool? Like,
no, they're actually. It was a Secret Service. The Secret Service, unlike the FBI, was extremely professional. Everybody I dealt with in the FBI at that time, because I dealt with some people since then, they've all been very professional. But the people that were after me, which was a woman named Candace Calderon, Special Agent Candace Calderon, was completely unprofessional.
Oh.
But the Secret Service had grabbed me, very professional, very nice. I mean, they were, Mr. Cox, get in here. Okay, we're gonna, and they're talking to each other, and they're like,
why
okay,
be a dick or pick a fight?
Right.
Like, I got a job to do.
Right. They're like, hey, we're gonna have to go in under the station because there's press out front, and I'm like, that's not good. Like every time they mention something casual, I'm thinking, Matt, that's not good. That's not good. The Secret Service is flying in, the agents from Atlanta to talk to you and formally kind of, arrest you for Atlanta. You're going to be transported over there. This and I'm thinking, it's not good. Transported doesn't sound good. The whole thing was just bad. It was all bad. And so, they were like, yeah, you're kind of done. You've been indicted. They gave me, you've been indicted, bunch of places. They're going to transport you to Atlanta. That took about 2-3 weeks. They put me on Con Air. They flew me to Oklahoma City, which was, lovely. It was a horrible experience. So did that. Multiple buses, multiple vans.
Oh, God.
Horrible airplane, no service.
Are you getting the idea of
Stewardesses
where
have
this
shotguns.
is headed? Like, what's really going to happen? Like, did you know, like, what kind of charges?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to get maybe 10 years.
You're thinking back there from the mortgage lady who's like, slap on the wrist. Well, this might be 10 years.
I knew this was different.
So what?
I knew this was a lot different. At this point,
was the threat? Because usually, from what I'm learning, they would threaten you, and then you would wind up a little less.
No, they did it kind of the opposite, where they're not really telling me what I'm facing, but my lawyer's telling me, you can't go to trial. You're done.
Really?
And I know I can't go to trial. So my lawyer is telling me, you're looking at, there's a book that's called the Federal Sentencing Guidelines, and she looks it up and she says, here's what your base level offense is, here's what this offense is, here are these enhancements you're going to get.
Oh, she goes a formula.
She goes through the formula, and she's saying, you're between 12 to 15 years, or 12 to 14 years.
So you kind of know where this is headed.
I feel pretty good. And then, so we do what's called a PSR, my pre-sentence report, and this all takes place over the course of a year. I meet with the FBI twice.
So sitting in like
I'm sorry. I meet with the FBI 3 times and the Secret Service like 4 different times. And everybody I know has already cooperated against me. Like, there's nothing I'm able to tell them. Like, the only way to really reduce your sentence in this situation is to cooperate. And I desperately made the attempt.
But they got it all.
They know
what do they need you for?
I don't need you. I don't need you. I got all these guys.
Got no leverage.
Everybody's already come in. They've already talked. Some people are already in prison. Becky's already in prison. Amanda's already in prison. She's leaving prison. It's been 3 years. She's already in a halfway house.
Wow.
Some people, and then all the other people, like, they're planning on arresting like 12 or 15 more people. They were just waiting to grab me because a lot of these people, almost everybody is saying like, oh, he did this, but I didn't know about it. So they're hoping they grab me, and they all turn to each other. So fine. Well, by the time they grab me, I do what's called a pre-sentence report. They have a special person that comes in. It's a probation officer, and this is one of their jobs. And they come in and they do it, and I get the pre-sentence report, and it's 26 years.
Oh,
it's not 12. 12 to 15. It's not 12.
What you're thinking plus.
Yeah. So I'm basically done. I go to sentencing, and my lawyer's telling me I'm going to argue that a lot of these enhancements don't even apply to you. I'm going to get those knocked off. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. She seemed very confident. She didn't get any of them knocked off, by the way. I got 26 years. At 26 years and 4 months, and I don't typically say the 4 months because it makes it sound like I'm whining about it, but it was 26 years and 4 months to be technical. And so I get the 26 years and 4 months. I had been interviewed by Dateline. The U.S. attorney asked me to be interviewed by Dateline.
Is there an incentive to do this?
Yeah, we will consider that substantial assistance.
Okay.
And we'll reduce your sentence.
And they're doing that because it spreads the message to people. If you do this,
bank fraud. Yeah, especially how serious bank fraud is. So I do that, and then
how much do you want to cut your time down?
Well, they said they consider it substantial assistance, and they reduced my sentence. And so when I got in front of it, they said we did consider it, and it's just not enough. So
what the fuck? You just went on national news.
So they didn't reduce my sentence. And then those people that I had cooperated against, they were going to indict. They didn't indict them. Because by this point, it's late 2007. It's November of 2007. And the entire economy is collapsing.
Yeah. Bigger fish to fry, I guess?
Bigger fish. Well, we're going to investigate this bank and this bank. We don't have time to look at this. These charges are 4 or 5 years old. So
then you're like, well, then hold on a minute. I'm not going to plead guilty.
I'm going to go to trial?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess no, but
Like, I go to trial, you get 32 years.
They're basically saying it's not worth fooling with this, and we don't have time, but there's no deal.
Technically, they can give you like 150 years. They could have given me 154 years, but that was never going to happen. If they stacked all the charges, it would have been 32 years. And I'm looking at 26. So I go in front of the judge, and my lawyer says, I'm going to argue these enhancements. They don't apply, and
what
you're going to get.
Exactly is an enhancement?
Well, let's say you're facing 5 years. But you also stole someone's identity. So that's a 2-point enhancement. So you get an extra year. Oh, wait. And he stole $3 million. That's a 3-point enhancement. So you get an extra 2.5 years. Oh, wait. He also changed jurisdictions to evade capture. That's an extra 2 points.
We have 30 of all of these.
Yeah, no. My base level offense should have been about six years. It was 20 years of enhancements.
Wow.
So... and some of them almost feel like they're made up. Like, we're giving you a 2-point enhancement for sophisticated means. What does that mean? It was sophisticated. Okay. That seems...
Okay.
It was complicated.
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, what choice? You don't have a choice. So I get in front of the judge, and my lawyer loses all of the arguments to reduce some of the enhancements. So I end up with 26 years, and I go to federal prison.
There are guys that are like... killed people and have less than that.
Oh, yeah. I've interviewed multiple guys that have murdered people and gotten like 11 years, 12 years. I remember the guy I told you cut his buddy up in the bathtub. I think he got 15. I think he ended up doing 7 or 8 years, something like that.
Are they looking at what you did? Like, if you just get in a fight with someone and kill them, I mean, that's obviously legal, but that's different than a 10-year run of this extremely sophisticated, consistent, like, body of work. Is that kind of how they look at it?
Yeah, they exactly. Like, they're 50 victims, you should get more time than somebody who has 10.
God. So you look at the judge and you're like, 26 years. What? Yeah.
So I go to prison. While I'm in prison, I meet a guy who is a disbarred lawyer. He files paperwork for me, and he files what's called a 2255. And so while I was in prison, I also the government asked me to be interviewed by American Greed.
And you're like, man, I already helped you, motherfuckers.
See, this is whatever. So, and I did. That's exactly what I told my lawyer. Hey, they already this and they already that, and I'm not doing it unless they
put it in writing.
They put it in writing. She says they're not going to do that. And I said, okay, then I'm not going to do it. She goes, okay, just do your 26 years then.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I guess.
Really?
Well, I don't know.
You're a badass.
You don't know. I would never do any of these things. But like, you're at the point where you've already negotiated with them. They screwed you. Here it's an opportunity.
So
but
I do get an email. We get an email from them that says we will put this with the other public service announcement, and we will definitely consider it substantial assistance. And the U.S. attorney told my lawyer, listen, between this and the other one, for sure we're going to do something. So I do it, and after it's done, they say it's just not enough. And at the same,
that's why I'm like, what's going on?
This is what the black guys call being pimped. This is a term I learned in
got
prison.
No leverage,
they're like, yo, bro, they're pimping you, Cox. Okay. I'm like, so what am I going to do? What is my alternative? Everybody's like, tell me, fuck you, I'll just do my time. They're like, all right, cool.
Well, that's not the answer.
Right.
Like,
the only answer is you do what they say and you hope for the best.
Fucked again.
Right. That's a strategy. That's actually the strategy. My entire strategy was hope. Hope's not a strategy, by the way.
I know.
So
that's all you got.
But it's all you got. So then I was contacted. At this point, the Dodd-Frank Act had been passed. And I was approached and so they were making all loan officers and brokers take 9 hours of continuing education every year. 3 hours of that's on ethics and fraud. So
they need a teacher now or what?
I wrote the ethics and fraud course that was being used to teach mortgage brokers throughout the nation. So I write that, and I was told if you do that, we will consider it something. Right. And I finished it, and I did it, and people were writing letters, and the guy that I wrote the course with wrote a letter, and he, by the way, went up to Atlanta and met with the U.S. attorney. So did my attorney, and she said, absolutely, if he does this, we will consider it substantial. Like that. Absolutely. And then I did it, and then it was all done, and we put it in a motion, and the government denied it. They said, yeah, it's just not enough. And then I found out that
some of them are like back there saying, not this guy, or just how
no. My attorney, my U.S. attorney hated my guts, and so that's when I met the lawyer. He filed a 2255, and he just what
is it 2255?
I'm sorry, it's a habeas motion where it's saying like, hey, like I wasn't adequately represented. My lawyer did not understand the law. And which is in a way it's a good argument. The problem with the argument is that I was time barred. So you only have 1 year to file a 2255. And this had been like 6 years.
Oh, statute of limitations is run.
Right. But you can do something called equitable tolling where you can say every time the government asks me to do something under this, I did it, that resets the time bar. So I'm not time barred. It's a poor argument, by the way.
But it's something.
But it's an argument that will get you into court.
The legal system has a lot of those. This is bad, but let's just take a shot.
Right. We'll make a shot. And so I shouldn't have won that argument. I didn't win the argument, but what it did was it allowed us to wear down the government to the point where they said, okay, fine, we're going to give him something. And I ended up with 7 years off my sentence.
Okay, that's real meaningful.
Right. So I got back so I'll tell you the other one real quick. So the second one that happened was I got back, I just got my sentence reduced. And by the way, the whole time I'm locked up, guys are coming up to me like, yo, Cox, man, how much time did you get? And I go, 26 years. And they go, man, how much more time you got? I'd be like, I got like 20 years to go. But somebody could fuck up and tell me where there's a body, and tomorrow I could be out of here. And they go, dang, Cox, it's like that. I'm like, yeah, it's just like that.
That's different leverage than this other.
Well, it's that what keep in mind, snitching is a no-no.
That's right.
You could get stabbed. Guys get killed, stabbed, beaten, everything.
So you're kind of openly saying.
I'm openly saying I don't want to be here. We're not friends. I don't care about you guys. I want to get out of here. So
they say there's no honor among thieves.
Listen,
but
90,
there's also this remote thing.
It's like 86% of federal inmates cooperate.
I believe it. But then there's this face of Omerta where
listen, 100% of them are lying about it. They're all like, I didn't cooperate. Really? Because I've got your transcript. So keep in mind, that's how many people get cooperation. It's more like 98% cooperate, but only they don't get anything for it. Because remember, I've been cooperating.
It's that we'll consider thing.
We'll consider it. They don't. Wasn't enough. Or we went to trial. We arrested the guy. We did an investigation and went to trial, and we lost. Okay, but that's not my fault. But sometimes they'll blame it on you. Yeah, but we're not going to give it anything. It depends on the U.S. attorney.
Remember, they're not negotiating with like the echelon of society that's contributing. Like, they're not negotiating in good faith because they feel like they're dealing with a bunch of guys who've been causing problems.
Yeah, nobody cares. Like nobody cares about your civil rights. So anyway, the point is that I come back to Coleman, and I'm walking the track with this guy, this old guy named Ron Wilson. Ron Wilson had stolen $57 million from churches and pension funds.
Whoa.
He ran a very successful Ponzi scheme, largest one in South Carolina history at the time. And so he's been on American Greed. So he and I are walking, and and I'll wrap this up because this is a longer story, but eventually he's also cooperating against his co-defendants, by the way. And given this is a no-no, all of this is a no-no. But he ends up saying to me, they're never going to reduce my sentence. And I'm like, well, if they don't, we'll have Frank file, Frank is the lawyer that filed for me. We'll have him file a 2255, and same thing that happened to me, we'll get you. No, you don't understand. They hate me. And I'm like, why do you keep saying that? Well, you understand. They think I hid Ponzi scheme money. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't. So, so we kept, this happens over the course of a month or two. And so one day he's like, yeah, no, I'm never going to get nothing. And I go, why do you keep saying that, bro? I said, he's like, can I trust you? And I go, probably not. And he does exactly that. He laughs. He knows I just got back from a sentence review. He knows I've told everybody there, I'll cut every fucker guy's throat in this prison to get out of here. I don't give a shit. And so Ron says, I did put away Ponzi scheme money.
Do people just need someone to tell? Do they need to talk about it to feel okay to wash shit off of them or something?
I don't know. Listen, here's the thing about fraudsters. Fraudsters typically get in trouble by talking. Like most people talk. Fraudsters especially talk because they have to tell people what they've done because they have to have people be impressed with them. It's very important for a fraudster, myself included, obviously, to impress people. So it's important for people to. It is a validation. It's a weakness. It's narcissism. It's arrogance. I'm extremely arrogant. Not extremely narcissist, but I am narcissistic. It's a scale. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing great. I'm making small baby steps.
Like people want us to educate about real estate, and we enjoy doing this. But there's
it's not. This isn't the normal. This isn't the bankers that he's been interviewing. No. This isn't the real estate agents.
But I do understand a little bit because people want us to talk about this and the stuff that I usually share about their learning and they're improving their lives. But there's a piece of this that says I feel better about myself than I did when I was a kid because I've learned something that's done good for me and my family, and I matter a little more now. So I get that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Baron made the mistake of telling me. And,
so hold on, go back. So Ron's like, I hid some money.
He said I did. I said I did.
Like,
he said,
boom, light to go off.
I gave some. My wife has about $150,000 in cash.
Wait, he stole 50 mil and it's like $100 grand.
Oh, well, they seized tons, and he handed over like $7 million. But he said I gave my wife a little bit, and my brother has maybe 20 or 30,000. And I was like, it's nothing. And you know what my first thought was? Is that enough to get me a reduction? And I thought, no, they didn't want to give me a reduction when I deserved it. They're not going to give me for that. That's nothing.
But you said that guy's case manager hated him.
No, his not case manager, his agent. His agent and the U.S. attorney, he said. But everybody says that. I say it. Mine really did, though. She was a horrible person. She was very mean. She really hated me. She was just doing her job.
Yeah.
But
so he tells you where this money is.
Well, he just tells me he gave it to these two people. Okay. I actually don't say anything. I wait about a month because I was waiting. I didn't think it was going to do anything for me. I ended up calling my lawyer because she was supposed to mail me my transcripts because I'd written a memoir. I'd written my memoir, and I wanted to include some of the stuff that happened at the hearing. So I call her. I'm like, hey, you never sent me the transcripts. She said, oh, God, Matt, I'm so sorry. I'll get them to you. I apologize. She said, so what's going on? So what do you mean? She goes, well, what's happening in there? Like, she didn't want to talk to me before. This is a new attorney, by the way. They had given me another attorney. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She goes, I don't know. Anything happening? I went, no. And I went, hey, wait, listen to this. I always wondered to myself.
And these phone calls are recorded?
Yeah. But I always remember thinking to myself, what if she hadn't said that? Because I wasn't even on my mind. I just kind of, and I went, hey, I go, well, listen to this. There's this guy in here. And I tell her his name. She looks him up. She goes, oh, wow. She goes, this is a bad guy.
He's legit.
She says, this is a big case. I go, okay. I said, well, here's what he told me. And I tell her. And she goes, okay, let me look into it. I said, okay. So the short version is a week later, I get called into what's called SIS, which is like a lieutenant. And he puts me on the phone with the Secret Service. And I tell the Secret Service that this guy's told me where he's hid some money. And I want something in writing.
But you don't say where.
I don't say where. And he said, I want something in writing. He says, I'll put it in writing. Now, what I get is I get a letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office saying, we will consider it. Substantial assistance. If we recover
like 3 or 4 times.
If we recover a substantial amount of money.
Oh, so you might rat on them. They don't recover it, but the money maybe got spent and you still get nothing.
Right. Or if there are any arrests. First of all, I don't really think anybody's going to get arrested for this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that the wife and brother are going to give him the money. And I don't think they're going to give Wilson any more time because he's already got 19 and a half years. He's going to die in prison. So
yeah, you're like, what do I?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, this is going nowhere. But whatever. I get the letter. I go, whatever. I get on the phone and I said, here's what he told me. And I write out the whole thing. And then they ask me some questions. Well, what about this? What it is? Have you ever talked about this? Yeah, he talked about that. And I tell him this. And what about this? I'm like, oh, yeah, this person. What about this person? Did this person help? And I'm like, no, that person, he said, never helped him. And he said, do you guys think that person knows? But she didn't know anything. So we have this conversation. This goes on for fucking ever.
You're giving them some good background.
I am. Oh, and listen, multiple times I'm like, oh, yeah, by the way, this is when this happened. And I said, I know that's when this conversation happened because this woman's mother sold her condo and she got $500,000 and they got into an argument over the $500,000 and they come back and they go, that's not true. We would have noticed $500,000 showing up in an account. And I said, no, it is true. So whenever they said, okay, well, we think he's lying to you. Is there any way he might know that I said, no, listen, this is what happened. They come back a week later and they're like, holy shit. We found out it turns out that the bank account was in the name of whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we found that fucking money. And
shit.
And they're like, so you're telling me that the day after that is when I pinpoint it down to the day this conversation happened, the day this argument happened, like everything.
That's useful information. How long did this take when you're like going through
6 months?
Oh my
6 months. And then they indict him.
On this new stuff.
Well, here's what happened. They call in, after 6 months, they call in the wife and the brother. The wife walks in and says, I don't have nothing. I don't know what you're talking about, and leaves. The next morning, the brother comes in with his lawyer and hands him $150,000 in cash. Remember, he said 20 or 30. And then the wife comes in. No, Wilson just lied to me. So the next day, or an hour later, the wife
might have made a mistake. I mean, you're doing so much stuff, maybe you forget.
The wife comes in and hands over $350,000 in silver, gold, and cash, $500,000. So
this fine got way bigger.
And then so a week later,
it's weird though. He's selectively lying. He's telling you stuff, and just pieces of it are different.
Right. So a week or two later, or maybe a month later, they indict the wife, the brother, and Wilson. They're telling me, the Secret Service tells me, we indicted this guy. You're going to find out, or you're going to find out about this.
And are you still in a cell with this guy? How often do you
you're walking around the compound. I mean, he's
in
my
the same
unit.
Facility.
He's in my unit. There's no doors. This guy could come in the middle of the night and stab me. He wouldn't. So one day I'm waiting to find, because I already know. I've known for days. I'm waiting. One day he calls. He goes, Cox. I look up and I see him. He's walking towards me.
Shit.
And I'm like,
something on my hands.
Fuck. And I look at him, I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? Like I do the whole, hey, golly gee, what's like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, you're not going to believe this. And I go, what? He goes, they indicted me. My wife walked in. She gave in this much. My brother gave this much. They indicted them and they indicted me. They gave him $500,000. And I go, $500,000? And I went, I said, you said it was like 150 or 200,000. He goes, I know. I didn't know if I could trust you. And I go, Ron, that hurts. So this is how bad it is. There's different types of cooperation. If you get arrested and you say, hey, listen, I know where there's an ice lab, right? And it's at this house. And the cops go over there and they kick in the door and they find an ice lab, then you're probably going to get 20% off your sentence. Okay. Because it's superficial, kind of. It didn't really require a lot other than you just running your mouth. And then what if they say, okay, well, you say, well, look, I know guys that are selling it. Okay, well, they can't just knock on the door then. We're going to have to wire you up. You're going to have to go and make control buys. And now you're in danger.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also controlled, right? Like that's why they're called controlled buys. They're watching you, and it's this controlled environment.
But it's a whole lot more involvement, more risk.
Yes. You might get.
So that's why the first time you just went and had a conversation, told them some stuff, and they're like,
Right. You might get 30% off your sentence for that, right? Maybe 40, maybe. And then there's the cooperation where you say, I'll testify in a trial.
Oh, dude, you're front and center.
Because now everybody knows and you're done. There's no way everybody's not going to know. It's going to be in your transcripts. It's going to be everywhere. You're going to prison as a snitch.
Yeah. And although everybody else is doing it, it's on record. So now you're.
But you're probably going to get 30 to 50% off your sentence.
Oh, wow. So
between,
you go from
let's say between
30
40 to 50, right? Yeah, you could walk out. Keep in mind, right, at that point, I've been locked up. At this point, I've been locked up 8 years? 9 years? About 9 years, actually, about 9 years. When Wilson comes up to me.
Do they give you a reduction of time remaining or a reduction of original? Because you might be
No, time, your whole time.
But, okay.
So if it's
but
not
you're down to 19 years, cut that in half, it's 8 years. You might be going home soon.
Yeah, I'm definitely going home soon. So, but I still have, at this point, I'm serving a 19 and a half year sentence. 19 years, 4 months.
And if that gets chopped in half.
Right. But I've already done 9 years. And I got good time too.
What's that?
They give you off 15% of your time if you don't
get into fights or do trouble.
Right. And look at me, I'm soft as cotton. I'm not getting in a fight.
But nobody picked anything with you.
No, people did. I'm a fast talker. People like me. So, and I don't get into trouble. I don't, the things that inmates get in trouble for, I just don't do. I'm not talking bad about people. I don't run up debts. I don't gossip. I'm not going to fight over the TV.
Stick to yourself.
Yeah, I stick to myself. I teach GED. I teach the real estate class. So Wilson's sitting there. There's a residential real estate class. I taught it for 10 years. So Wilson sits there and he's like, he's like, yeah, I've been indicted. They're going to move me back to South Carolina. He goes, what do you think I should do? And I go, I think you should go to trial. And he goes, really? I said, yeah, bro, you need to drag this out. Like, I'd make them drag it through the mud, try and get the best deal you can, go to trial. I said, you might even fucking win it. There's nothing that says that
they need someone to testify.
Because I'm thinking they'll have to call me to testify. Right?
Goodness. That's it.
Buddies, he's going to be like,
you
this
walk
is
into
insane.
that courtroom, he's going to be like.
Well, that doesn't happen. He takes a plea. So the short version is he takes a plea. They give him 6 months extra. So he went from 19 and a half years to 20.
I mean, I'm not the one that's got the 19 years and just added 6 months,
Yeah.
but it materially didn't change his life.
No. Oh, it's even better for him. So what happens is his wife gets, I think his wife and brother get a year probation. Actually, to be honest with you,
They never did time.
one gets a year of probation, and I want to say both of them got maybe a year probation, but what they really both got was they got community service, because one of them gets like 40 hours community service and one gets like 100 hours community service, and they had 1 year to perform it. So they don't, nothing really happens. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because when I go to say, hey, I want my sentence reduced, they say, it's not enough. So I go back to Frank. Frank files another 2255. This drags out for 6 months.
This is some
to a year.
strategy.
Goes back, does the same thing again. We argue, we bitch, we moan, multiple motions, and eventually they come back. They give me a new attorney, and they come back and they say we negotiate. I get 5 years off. When they give me the 5 years off, I literally have like a year to go.
Oh my gosh. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You can see it now.
Yeah, so like a year later, I'm in the halfway house.
And does he find out while y'all are in the same facility?
Oh yeah, no. Oh no. They transport him. He finds out while he's on while he gets transported to South Carolina. Wilson finds out that I'm the one that cooperated, got him fucked up.
Have you ever talked to him? Have you ever had correspondence?
No. But here's the thing: COVID hits. He gets released. He's out right now. He never does the 20 years. He doesn't even do half of his 20 years. He only ends up doing like 8 years of his sentence.
How did that happen? Is there
because
a law?
It's COVID. He was 66 years old, 67 years old. Remember, I told you he got 20 years. He's going to die in prison. What?
And they just let him out of prison? Is there a law or something?
Yeah, they let out tons of guys. They let tons of it.
When COVID was happening, I was watching the stock market, buying good companies at a discount. That's what my life was consuming this time.
Well, the little people like me. The little people were, and prisoners, COVID was everywhere in prisons. The guards were quitting left and right.
It was just spread
everywhere. It was horrible. Like guys are just sick and dying left and right. Damn. And so if you were over the age of like,
he's
50,
a high risk.
You were 55, or you were overweight, or you had high blood pressure, or you had there was a whole series of things that made you more susceptible. They put you on an ankle monitor and sent you home.
Wow.
They stayed
on a ticket. So what about you?
But keep in mind, I was out by them. So they stayed on their ankle monitor. And then when Biden, they never went back. These guys have been on ankle monitor the whole time.
Were they supposed to go back?
Well.
They don't know.
They kept threatening to send everybody back. Here's the problem. They let out like 15,000 guys. Out of 100,000, they let out 15,000. Here's the problem. And the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons hated this. 3 guys out of 1,500 actually violated and went back to prison.
The rest of them, they let out the right kind of guys.
So you tell me.
Those are reformed-ish.
Well, you tell me. Do those people need to be locked up at all? Why do you have people locked up that you can release on an ankle monitor and send them to work? These guys are all working. Wilson was retired. He's like 68 years old, 70 years old probably by this point.
The question is, are you trying to rehabilitate them, or is this retribution?
No, it's really. I mean, prison is punishment. The Supreme Court it said that like 20 years ago.
That's punishment.
Stop saying it's to rehabilitate. It's about punishment, and so it's about punishment. But if you've got a bunch of nonviolent guys that you're let out and put on an ankle monitor, and within 3-year period of time, 3 of them violate. Yeah. Why do you have these guys? Why are you spending $1 billion a year to keep them in there?
80% of the people that went to prison were always in and out, in and out. Didn't I?
No. Recidivism is extremely high, but it's not high because of the reason people think. It is because people they reoffend, but they don't reoffend because they got out thinking I'm going to commit crime again. Typically they get out, they haven't been properly trained, they're not acclimated, they're not slowly put back into society. What happens is they let them out with nothing.
Make money again.
Nobody wants to hire them.
Yeah.
So you tell everybody, hey, he's a felon, he's a thief, he's a this, so nobody wants to hire them. And after a couple of months, they get frustrated. And if you're frustrated and you're broke and you're hungry, what do you go to?
That just goes back to the original crime, the original fraud thing. What were the 3 things you said again?
Oh yeah, if you have the opportunity, the need, and
what was that third one?
Opportunity, need,
it's
and I think
the
motivation.
Same circumstance.
Right. It is, but it could be for anything. It could be for any crime. So these guys start selling drugs because you know what you can always do. Drug dealer can always go to another drug dealer or an old drug dealer and say, "Hey, bro, I need some."
Oh yeah.
They don't call them drugs. Like they'll go, I got some work for you. So he'll front you something, and of course, you know they're like, they don't gonna give him money, but I'll front you something. So he gives him something. He goes out and sells it. He comes back. He pays him. He sells.
So that's how he gets in business without having a lot of capital to get in.
Right. Well, they're always willing.
And they'll start with a small amount.
Yeah.
If you don't repay, they're coming after you probably.
Right. Or they don't. Or a lot of times they just don't care. It's not the cartel. Cartel just cuts you up and your family. But I'm talking about street level guys. So they get back into it. They start making some easy money, and then they get busted 6 months later.
So what kind of guys? I mean, you ended up doing 8 years, 9 years?
I did 13.
13. Okay, so you did about half of that's still like a meaningful part of your life. So we talked about what you were doing outside to get you there.
Right.
But when you were there, that's a whole different thing. Like the people you're talking to with me here today, scheduling, hanging out, this is way different than in that amount of time in your life. Let's talk about that for a little while.
About what I'm doing now?
No, not now. Like
you mean being incarcerated?
Yeah, that's a completely different situation.
Yeah, because I got so much time, I initially went to a medium security prison, and that's what you think of as a prison. Like when you picture a prison,
like when you see on TV.
Yeah, like they have 2 tiers. Everything's concrete. Well, everything's always concrete, but everything's concrete. They feed you through the doors. Do
you have any time? Do you have much time during the day to like just walk around?
Yeah, if there's not locked, a lot of times if people get stabbed in the rec yard or something, they'll lock you down. But it wasn't that bad of a facility. That's typically like a pen. So I went.
But you're federal, right? What's the difference between
there's pens and fed? So the feds, a penitentiary is like a maximum security, right? Okay. Like it's for really violent guys.
That's how they separate it by violent.
Right. So pens, then you have medium security prisons, and then you have lows, and you have camps. And then you have something called an ADX, but that's for like terrorists.
Supermax, real
it's like terrorists and cartel members. So.
That's like all time in the room. You don't get to go out.
Right.
So you were in mid-security, mid-level.
Yeah. Well, I was initially for 3 years. But after 3 years, with good time, I dropped below 20 years. So then I went to a low.
When you see TV, you see like stabbings, fighting, like
the first day
shower scenes all the time. Is that what this is really like?
The first day I was there, somebody got stabbed. Like I had just gone into my unit and been introduced to my cellie, and like I'd been there like 5 minutes, and I'm just kind of walking around the unit, not really outside because it's a controlled movement facility. So each building is locked down all day. Well, they open up for 10 minutes at a time, so you can go from like your unit to like the library or to the rec yard or to chow line or chow or commissary. But I was sitting there, so I was just kind of walking around like checking out the place, and suddenly they start screaming, lockdown, lockdown. There, woo! And my cellie comes up to me. He's like, yo. He's like, cellie, you got to come in the cell. I go, what's going on? He's like, oh, somebody got stabbed in the rec yard. I go, someone just
Is that where it usually happens, or does it happen inside more?
Usually it's the rec yard. And the guy, I mean, they'll do it in the units too, and he said, I go, someone just got killed in the rec yard. He goes, nah, they just stabbed him up a little bit. And I thought,
what the fuck?
Oh my God, I'm in a place where stabbed him up a little bit. And he did that too. They just stabbed him up a little bit. And I thought, you're in a place where they say stab them up a little bit.
A little bit. And a little bit and stab in the same sentence.
Well, what I found out later is, it's funny, like it seems so foreign then, but now I realize that they would get a small blade. And so let's say you had a debt and you didn't pay me. I don't want to get a charge. I don't want to kill you. But I can't
teach them a lesson.
I can't have you walking around. Everybody knows you owe me $200.
Right. You got to.
And you basically are telling me to go fuck myself. Yeah. I can't file a lawsuit.
Lawsuit.
You know, I can't call the police.
You have to do something.
You're right. You got to do something, or suddenly you're just a bitch. People are walking in your yacht locker, taking your shit. You just can't do that. And so what the guy will do is he doesn't want to get a charge, but I got to get you off the compound. So he'll wait to the rec yard, find someplace where there's not a camera, walk up behind you or turn or whatever, just and you just hit the ground and he stabs you a couple times and motherfucker. And then he jumps up and walks off and drops the blade, or another guy grabs the blade and walks that way, and then he walks off. He washes his hand. That guy's rolling around screaming. He runs into medical. He goes to the hospital, goes to the SHU. They ship him. If he doesn't say anything, he doesn't say who did it. If he said, he might say who did it.
And then,
of course, Logan's in trouble now. Logan's going to be in the SHU for a while, and then you're going somewhere else. But they're not going to they'll give you like a shot or something, but you're not going to get another charge.
I was watching a podcast or a documentary something one time, and this is like a Hell's Angel guy or something. Mm-hmm. And I remember listening, the way he was talking about this was very sophisticated, clearly educated on the topic. He was saying, when that happens, these areas don't really do much, but if you really want to do harm, they're like listing the places in the bodies where arteries are accessible. I mean, it was like incredibly well thought out.
Yeah, no, they don't want to kill you. They definitely don't want to kill you.
But the way this Hell's Angel guy was saying,
he did want to kill him.
Yeah, he was like, okay, this is where you go. These are the places. I was just like, fuck, this is science, man.
Yeah. No, they know what they're doing.
So when that happened that day, were you like, oh crap, like, am I going to find myself in these places? Or you're just thinking this is a higher risk place than I thought?
I remember thinking, don't go to the rec yard. They're stabbing each other out there. But by this point, I'd been locked up a year in the Marshals holdover, and I'd had kind of lots of guys had kind of walked me through how you get in trouble. And I'd been in the unit and I'd seen people get in trouble. And I had dealt with personalities that were so extreme, it was easy to spot them.
No wonder that motherfucker got into a jam up. He's crazy.
Yeah, you very quickly find out what happened.
Yeah.
Like, what was he thinking? I'm surprised he made it 2 months. He's owed that money for 2 months. Or he was messing with that guy's punk. You don't mess with that guy's punk. Talking about that dude's got a life sentence. He's in love. They're in love. They're holding hands, walking. They're swapping spit on the rec yard. Hell no.
That'd be like if I came home and found someone in my house with my wife.
Yeah,
like, what the heck?
Fuck with Kiki? You know they loves Kiki. Listen, the worst thing I ever saw in prison, people ask me this, what's the worst thing you ever seen?
What is it?
I was in the medium in the library, and I was working on, I think, my story. And I was kind of writing an outline. And I'm in the library, and there's a punk in there, right? Like a transgender, right? Like a punk.
Oh.
And I mean, listen, this is the kind of punk that he'd fool you. He'd fool you, bro. Like, I mean, we're talking about braided hair, thin braids. Like, they got time inside. Like, they'll do some braids. Thin braids, super skinny.
So what are you saying? Like, this dude is cute?
Oh, I don't say anything. I'm just watching. I'm just sitting there. I'm saying I could see this dude tricking somebody if he had a couple of drinks.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there writing, and, you don't pay. And he's looking at a Vanity Fair, some magazine, flipping the magazine.
Yeah.
And sitting there. And, like, this is the medium. So at the low, there'll be 50 guys in the low in the library, but this is the medium, so it's the library, and there's like 6 guys. These are not readers. So I'm working, and all of a sudden this guy walks in the library. He's got to be at least 6'2", 6'3", black guy, massive. I mean,
like, dude, you're like,
100%.
Fuck with that guy.
You 100% think you're on steroids. Like, I don't know how you're getting them in, but you're on steroids. Like, it's insane how this guy looks. And he comes walking in, and he walks over to the punk, and he said, "Can I talk to you outside?"
Oh, shit.
And I'm going to say she, and she says, she flips He goes, baby, please. Baby, please, can I talk to you outside? Flips the page. I don't like the way you talk to me in front of your friends. Baby, please.
And you're sitting here like, what planet am I on?
Everybody now is looking up. And the moment he's like, baby, please. And he looks around, everybody, whoa. And then he turns and we all look back. Like, listen, they have a little tiff, a little.
There's a love spat.
Finally.
And you got Debo over there talking to like.
Finally, the punk gets up and walks outside and then saunters back in 5 minutes later. And the big guy comes walking and goes to put his hand he's like, baby, please, and puts his hand on him. She goes, oh, don't touch me. And I thought, oh my God, this is, I've never, and the guy, by the way, the guy pulls his hands back like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. And I swear to you, I've never been so humiliated for another person in my entire life.
Dude, you would never fuck with otherwise.
Well, of course, it was horrible. And by the way, when I say horrible, I never wanted out of that room so bad, and so bad in my life. And keep in mind, I've seen guys get stabbed. I've seen them get beat. I've seen a guy, the most blood I ever saw was a guy that got hit with a lock in the back of the head about 10 times. So your scalp bleeds a lot. I don't know if you know, you've got a ton of blood vessels.
Yeah.
And so this guy just walked, just so wham, wham. The guy hit the ground and hit him a couple more, tried to stand up again, hit him, boom, boom, and just hit him. And then there was just blood. His white shirt was completely soaked through.
And you wanted more out of that other room than that one.
Of course. Of course. This poor guy was so wrapped around this dude's fucking finger.
Gosh.
I just thought, this is so horrible. And listen, like the other guys in the room, like when the whole thing was over, like you would think you'd all kind of look at each other and laugh and joke. Like we just looked at each other and it was this feeling of just dread. Like, where are we? And why do I feel so bad for this guy that's clearly got a life sentence and is this guy's, this punk's sugar daddy? And I feel horrible for this person, which I shouldn't feel horrible. He's probably a horrific individual. Uh-huh. And it was just, it was one of those positions you're like, I should not be here. Like I should never be in this position.
I need to go home.
I don't have the experience to know what to feel right now. You know?
I'm not prepared. God.
Listen, it was bad.
So, man, you know what? It just occurred to me. So I've never had experiences like that, man. But you know what I have had happen? I actually did something that was pretty good. Not exactly like that, but so my parents split when I was younger. My dad came from kind of like a pretty equitable household with land and stuff from a farming community, but not a lot of cash. So They had land there worth a fair amount. My mom came from a working class. My dad worked at my grandpa worked at a convenience store, like a grocery store. My grandma was a homemaker. That's like where I'm from, basically. Yeah. And when my parents got married, my dad's side of the family was kind of helping, give them a little bit of money, like middle class, not rich, but just, real middle class. Parents split. Dad had some personality issues, psychiatric stuff, started drinking. Mom had to go be like a professional, and it was tough. Not much money in the household. So I'm over here thinking like, how do I get money? I'll go get a job when I'm 14 years old to get in this work program at school, going to work afterwards, getting a paycheck. I'm going to buy my own car. Like, that's where I'm at. I got to figure out how to not be poor in this life, basically. And I go to my buddy's house one day, and it's Clayton. And he says, one of the guys that's friends with us, Nishu, his parents are doctors, are wealthy. And he brings this thing out, and he shows it to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It looks like a $50 bill. Mm-hmm. I think it's a $50 bill. It's not a $50 bill. It's printed on this high-end paper with a high-end printer. I'm like, where the fuck did you get this thing, Clayton? He goes, I made them at Nishu's house. And I'm like, do tell. Well, he brings out a ream. He ran a whole fucking ream back and forth of 50. So it's like, maybe it was 3 of them a page or 4, I don't remember. He's like, let's cut these up and we can have them. And I'm like, this is more money I've ever seen in my life. I'll never have this kind of money.
It's not money, but okay.
It looked like money. And it spent like money.
Oh, really?
Dude, this is, yeah.
Like it's just like a small town. Like the cash, they just didn't.
I grew up in Temple, Texas.
Right.
30,000, 40,000 people at the time. Small town.
Yeah.
We lived in middle class. Well, at this time, I lived at the edge of it.
Is not a problem there.
See, yeah.
Until now.
So Clayton's like, let's just divvy it, chop it all up. We start crunching it up so it looks like it's been used. And I go home and, I'm thinking back because I was asking you these questions, like, what's going on in your mind? And I remember thinking, no one will know. So the first thing that runs through my mind is I got to distance myself from this. So that weekend I go to Austin, Texas, which is about an hour away, big city. And I'm thinking, how do I just pass this without getting busted? So I go to, people are selling roses on the side of the road. The guys that are selling at the stoplight. And I'm thinking, they'll never know. I hand it to him. He hands me a thing of roses, give me $40 change. I drive around the corner, toss the rose out. I'm like, shit, I just made $40.
Yeah.
So I go buy a burger joint. I'm thinking, where's a low probability of this stuff getting like hung up? So I go make a couple $1,000, convert it into a couple thousand in cash, go home. Okay, this worked. That's going to be my plan. And I'm thinking I have to convert this like damn near a shoebox of all this crumpled up money. This is going to work. Well, then about 2 weeks later, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back to Austin again and do this on the weekend again. And I'm at school and somebody knocks on the school door and it's these two dudes in suits. I'm like, so I haven't done this but once. I don't even think anything like Mr. Fullmer. And I'm like, motherfucker. Secret Service.
Right.
They investigate this.
Yeah.
Counterfeiting. So they take me out and I'm thinking like, dang it, I'm busted. Like, uh-oh. And I'm young, man. I'm 16. I'm 16 at the time. 15 or 16. I can't remember if I was driving yet or not. No, I wanted to buy a car. That's where I was. No. I was driving because I'd been to Austin already. Yeah, okay. I'd already gotten the car. I wanted a newer car. That's what it was. I didn't have a very nice car. So they take me out of the police station and they read me my rights, I think. They're telling me all this shit, but I'm kind of nervous, don't know what's going on. And they started asking me all these questions and I'm just playing stupid, complete fool. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. And then they're like, okay, we want to tell you something. And they just fucking lay it out. We picked up Clayton. Clayton was going to the gas station and picking up a $50 bill and getting $5 or whatever $10 worth of gas and getting the $45 change on the way to school every day. Gas station by his house. So by, 4 or 5 days in, he goes in to pay for it and they walk in the back and arrest him.
Yeah.
They nail him. Clayton fucking spills the beans on everybody.
Right.
So they knew everything. They told me it all. And I was like, ah. And then I remember him looking at me saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm so young and naive. I'm like, I want to go to UT. I want to be an architect. I'm telling them all my fucking life dreams. They're like, you're going to go to prison. That's not going to happen. I'm just like, fuck, he's right. So I tell him everything, like everything. I leave no stone unturned. God, man, I haven't thought about this in like forever. So then I go back and go, where's the rest of the money? Because they realize there's a bunch left. It's at my house. Put me in the car, drive over to the house. And we had just been evicted from the house across the street. My dad bought it on a seller finance note. My grandma gave money down. Dad didn't make the payments. Dude foreclosed. I came home on the bus about a month before then, moving our shit out in the yard. So I know this is, yeah. So we're living with the neighbor and they got an arrangement. He's a single dad. My dad's a single dad. His kids don't come. So we had 2 rooms. Anyway, we pull up to the house and my dad's walking out of the house. And I get these 2 Secret Service agents come out of Crown Vic and Dad's like, Logan, do you have something to tell me? And I'm like, no, they do. Go right in the house, go to the shoebox. And the real money, I just, I left that. Yeah. But the fake money, I get it. And I remember thinking, they're not following me. They're not here with me. I'm now thinking back to some of these original events you had. And I'm thinking how messed up my thinking still was at the time. They're not counting it. They didn't ask for me to count. They're in the living room with my dad. So I get the money and I take this money and put this money back in the other shoe.
I still got another run in me.
I guess that's what I was thinking. I don't know. I bring this money out. I give it to them. And they're like, okay, we're going to talk. We're going to figure out what to do. I don't remember what all they said, but they left and I stayed home with my dad. And I remember thinking, I still got some money left. The next day, I still go to school. Clayton got picked up. Nisha got picked up. Then they called my dad about a week later, and my dad called an attorney. And the attorney said, don't do anything before you talk to me. So they call and say, we want you to turn yourself in. We're going to give you federal probation. It was like 5 years or something like that. And I remember thinking, okay, well, where do I sign? My dad said, nope, don't do it. Lawyer said, don't do it right now. Make them start sending paperwork, make them bring us in. I'm kind of scared, but I'm still going about my day-to-day life. At this point, 16 years old, 10th grade. And then I remember Clayton signs up, federal fucking probation. Like, that's part of his life now. We're 2 months in, 3 months in, 4 months in. They keep asking me, Logan, what's happening? I'm like, nothing. About a year later, how did I find this out? Clayton sent me a newspaper article. He goes, these are the guys that did all my probation and stuff. And they were the guys that arrested us and questioned us. They were one of them, the one that was the lead. The other was just a helper, I guess. He was hit by a car and died in an automobile accident. And apparently I was told by Clayton that they didn't reassign the case because it was too small and they squashed it. Never heard from him again. I didn't get charged. I checked. Statute of limitations is run a long time ago.
Was it like 3 years? 3 year statute of limitations?
I think the attorney I was talking to said it was 10 because it was some federal counterfeiting or something.
Wow,
10.
that's a long one.
Yeah, that was when I was 16 to 26. So now that we're talking about this, I'm thinking, oh, wait, I have been in trouble. I did do some shit. But I didn't get to spend time with Debo and Kiki.
Oh, yeah. Those guys.
So did you meet any guys that had stuff like that?
Yeah, so I actually funny because I've actually met probably maybe three counterfeiters.
Really?
And listen to this one. This is how bad this one is. Let me tell you how lucky you got. This guy and his girlfriend, him and his brother, his buddy, one of his buddies, they were playing around with a color printer, trying to make counterfeit money. And they had even made one with Hillary Clinton's face on it. And so they had some. He's like, well, we couldn't get it right. We just couldn't get it right.
Hillary Clinton, she's not even a real dollar.
Right. So he's like, we couldn't figure it out. We tried and we just never could. So I had like 30 bills or something. I forget what it was. He said, and I taped it. He said, my girlfriend and I had a bush or a little plant in the house. And
they make a money tree?
They made a money tree. He said, I taped it onto. And he said, but it was the Hillary Clinton ones. He said, but there were 3 of them that he said that were the best we had done. But he said still weren't good enough that I felt I could
use them.
Pass them. He said, and it was on the money tree. And he said, a week or so after I'd made the money tree, I get into a huge argument with my girlfriend. And I tell her to get out of the apartment, that we're done. And she calls the police.
Oh, the girls always take people down.
And the Secret Service show up and they arrest, they walk in, there's a money tree. He opens the door. He goes, I didn't even think about it. He said, because I thought we'd never tried to spend it. We never tried to spend it. But just making it is federal.
Wow.
It's a federal crime. And they arrest him.
How long was he there for?
So he went to trial. They tried to give him probation.
Oh, and he's like, dude, I'm going to get out of this. This isn't right.
He did because he said, 1, I never spent it. And 2, he's like, we changed our mind. We didn't spend it. And he said, none of them are passable. Like none of them are look good enough. So the judge
we're not charging you for being a good counterfeiter. We're charging you for being a counterfeiter.
Well, yeah. And so his lawyer was like, I think I can get it all thrown out. So because keep in mind that they have the girlfriend, but he's never told them anything. So that there's an argument to be made that this was all just about making a fake money tree, and it was always just a joke. Like it was never meant to be serious. That's a
reasonable argument.
Reasonable argument. So they go in front of the judge, they argue it, and the judge says, listen, you got a bunch of dollar. He tells this to the U.S. attorney, you got a bunch of dollar bills here with Hillary Clinton's face on it. He's like, he's like, he's not passing these notes. He said, obviously these weren't serious. He said, but these 3 look pretty good. He said, so I'm dropping the other 37 counts, but I'm going to let these stick. These stay in evidence. So you are going to be charged. So he gets charged, and so then he goes to trial. Still thinking, I can get a jury. Couldn't get the judge. Judge is jaded. I get a jury.
Juries are a flip of a coin. I do a lot of civil litigation. Juries are a flip of a coin, buddy.
Jury disagrees. Whew. And they give him, and he ends up getting 3 years. And I met him when he got 3 years. I met another guy in the medium who had been arrested twice and gone to prison twice for counterfeiting. Oh. This was his second or third time. And he had gotten, you don't get a lot of time. You don't get a lot of time.
Really?
And so he told me, because I was really infatuated with how he had figured it out. Like he had gone to art school, he'd gone to graphic design school.
He put together quality product.
And keep in mind too, I have a degree in fine arts. Like I've done graphic design. I've done intaglio prints with the big massive printers. I've done all of it. So I know what it takes to make a note. And I was very, very interested in his case. We talked a bunch, and you know what he told me? I said, well, what are you going to do when you get out? He goes, I'm going to make counterfeit money. And I was like,
because he only gets 3 years every time.
Well, I think this time he got 6, but he didn't matter. He's like, look, you have to understand, it's how much they catch you with, so you don't make much. He goes, I know what the minimum the mandatory, I know what the guidelines say. There's no mandatory, but he knows the guidelines are. So he explained the whole thing, and he was like, oh yeah. He's like, bro, there's no better crime. He's like, do you understand? He's like, Matt, I've made millions of dollars, millions. He goes, and I'll get caught every once in a while for 10,000, 8,000.
A guy that's as bright as he is to be able to put something together like that and execute and work, there's a million businesses out there that probably make just as much money. You do just fine.
Listen, I always hear that. I always hear that. I always hear that. You're so smart, you could do something legitimate. Come on, man. He's making money.
Well,
he's not getting a regular job. He's not going to go. I'm telling you, like everybody's like, fraud. Like, Matt, you could do something legitimate instead of fraud if you put the same amount of energy. No way. It's not true. Who are you fooling? I was making a couple $1 million in a year, 6 months.
If I had a picture of the way your face when you said that,
my God,
no way.
Everybody's always saying that.
Maybe that's a stupid sounding logic for like, you know.
They want that to be true, but the truth is my God, what are you going to do? He's making millions of dollars every year. He's blowing through millions. There's no job he's going to go out and the likelihood
make that kind of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you say, well, if you really put well, let's face it, how many jobs do you start? How many businesses start that fail? How much capital do you need? How much experience? How much, there's so many things. Yes, ultimately, maybe in 10 years, he could have a business that's paying his bills, but it's still not, he can go out right now and in 2 weeks from now, he can have $100,000.
The hurdles to entry on the criminal stuff is much lower. Right. You can go buy yourself a kilo of cocaine or a printer and there you go. I get all that.
I love the way you throw the business, vocabulary into the entry level in this such and such. Yeah.
Oh man, this has been fun, dude. This has been exciting. We talked about real estate for a little while. We talked about all this other stuff for a while. This is fun. If I had extra time, I would talk about. There's this fine line when you do real estate. I'm a creative, interested person. Right. So I think when I see all these things, I see where the holes lie in these messy real estate deals we do. And I'm a tyrant about this in our office. There are guys doing deals I don't supervise. They do the entire deal. They've been trained. I'm not involved. And there are times where guys could cross the line and leave a person off an affidavit of heirship. The hard person to deal with, leave them right off. You don't have to run that through court. It's an affidavit. Doesn't have to go through probate. There's so many ways that people could pull small games and do it wrong, but get away with it with a high probability and make a lot of money and move on. But I've been just...
I was going to say that's the problem is that you only have to get away with one or two to become emboldened.
That's exactly what I say.
And before you know it, you think you're invincible.
That's exactly what I tell them. The first time, it's not that big a deal. That's less of a problem. It's the 15th time because it's become your pattern. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I always think, I wish I'd been caught the first time. If I'd been caught the first time,
it'd be different.
I wouldn't have had to spend 13 years in prison.
There's that fine line of risk it all or not, but it doesn't seem so big then. And that would be a topic for another day, but we'll wrap it up today. Matt, this has been a blast. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
My commitment to you is to deliver the most interesting, messy, and profitable real estate deals on earth. And in exchange for that, I only ask that you subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend who can benefit.